Muted, but I don't want to miss this.
Okay, so, well, since we're all here, finally, no. Let's get into this recap real quick. Okay, so last session began within the elven village of Ledlin. Early morning, out upon a main road, some commotion has drawn the high elven royal guard towards the disturbance. And while the party is packed and ready for another day or two of travel upon the road, from the opposite direction that the royal guard departed, several dozen bugbears begin infiltrating and raiding the settlement. The Sands of Justice make quick work of the invading bugbears in their immediate vicinity, looting a few items off the chief and his lackey Castor. After receiving some thanks and praise from Lord Svelison, the party presses farther into Brightwood, towards the city of Silerin. After another day or so of travel, the party discovers a recent battlefield of many slain bugbears, royal guards litter the scene. The party gleans a bit of info here, and after investigating a bit, the party decides to press on to Silerin, deciding to travel even through the night to reach their destination by early morning. Arriving at the fine city of Silerin in the early morning, rather than enter the elven city proper, the party is led by Locris through some of the communities that have sprang up around the towering walls of this city. And finally coming to one of the poorer communities with the hustle and bustle of the city around you, finding yourselves led through a mostly tiefling neighborhood, you come to a stop in front of a modest dwelling, and it is revealed that this dwelling is the family home of Locris, and that is kind of where we are now. So it is like an early dawn. You know, the city is just awakening, and you guys have pressed on throughout the night. So you guys have been traveling pretty heartily through the last 24 hours or so. And as you guys kind of reach the next morn, having pressed on with no sleep, I'm gonna have to get some Constitution saving throws versus exhaustion.
It's a +3 to everyone if we're all just hanging out together. If you're within 10 feet of me.
I'll say yeah. You're about enough. You know, you can be around them whenever they need to make the save or whatever.
It's a con save.
Correct.
16 for Locris.
19 for later. Not a bad start. Which means it's only going to go downhill from here.
12.
All right, so as you guys kind of press on, unfortunately, let's see. What did you get, Gladier?
19.
Okay. Renwick, Blade, and Logos. You guys have pressed on, and you know it's the first time in a while you guys have had to like a hard ride through the night up until dawn, and you know you guys are seemingly still ready to go. Fighting off the weariness of the road, but each of you suffers 1 point of exhaustion for the time being.
Everyone? Damn.
Not Gladier or Locris. You guys are fine, but Renwick, Blade, and Logos, you guys are for sure feeling the effects of a hard night's ride.
Damn, dude, we were on time.
Level 1 exhaustion's just disadvantage on ability checks.
Correct.
Heard.
See, tea is not a substitution for caffeine.
No.
Like I said before, you had eventually made your way to what appears to be what used to be two large concrete pillars that have fallen next to one another. Now they're partially buried, but laying parallel. Atop of these parallel pillars appears to be like an A-frame style roof of wood and thatch. A small stone chimney puffs a stream of white smoke. A large makeshift wall connects these two pillars and this thatch roof. And this makeshift wall has a door at its center. This wooden makeshift wall and door look to have been a part of a ship at one point in time, maybe dragged up here. And a small stone mailbox with the name Levistian hangs on the wall to the right of this doorway. And as the cock crows, a dark blue colored tiefling man, one wearing pretty common clothes, but his skin is so dark blue that it is almost like it's considered like a midnight blue. And his this tiefling man's a horn has very dark ram-like horns pulling around his head, and he comes out the door and sits on a stone table that is placed directly outside, and with a wooden pipe in his mouth, he strikes a match, and as he goes to puff upon his pipe, he looks over at the small crowd of people kind of hanging out outside his house, and his jaw just kind of drops. He drops the pipe to the ground. Locris? Locris, my boy? And he runs over and runs up to you and puts both hands on his shoulders and looks you in the eye. He says, "Oh, welcome home." And he gives you a big hug and embrace, and then kind of a stern look. He's like, "How are you? Are you in trouble?" And then his demeanor kind of changes. He kind of begins to side eye the company you have brought with you.
No, we're not in trouble. In fact, almost the opposite. These are actually my traveling companions, not bounty hunters or guards or anything.
Oh, most excellent. Any friend of my son is a friend of mine. And Dardos, I am Dardos. And he introduces himself, shakes each of your hands vigorously before turning his attention back to Locris. So, what's the occasion? Why, if everything else all good? He kind of cocks an eyebrow at you.
Well, this might be better spoken inside.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, your mother's gonna freak. Come on then,
Yeah.
and he picks up his pipe off of the counter, puts it in his pocket, and walks through the front door.
Locris will follow.
Okay, Locris. So as you and the party kind of enter your family home, why don't you describe what the interior of your childhood home looks like?
Nice. So it probably looks not fancy, but well done, as Dardos is a handyman. So he did all his own repairs and using materials from different job sites. There's really no aesthetic besides free or cheap, but it's all well done. There's no leaks, there's no drafts. It all looks put together. Well made blankets hanging off of a couch, as well as pillows. And just very cozy for what it can be.
As you guys kind of enter this house, led in by Dardos, you hear like a shrill shriek, and a large pile of these folded blankets seems to just hit the ground with a loud thud. and come like running around the corner is a smaller tiefling woman, also garbed in kind of like the common clothes and whatnot, but she has a belt that is full of like sewing needles and like small scissors and things, and she has rather large kind of like Coke bottle spectacles. And as she rounds the corner, she unlike Dardos is a very light like sky or maybe baby blue color to her skin tone. And as she comes around the corner and sees Locris, she lets out a shriek of delight and runs forward and throws her arms around him. She said, "Oh, I have been worried. I've been dreaming. You don't write. You don't call. What is going on? Who are is everything okay?" She gets like dead serious and like kind of eyeballs your friends. Is everything okay? Who are these people?
Yes, everything is fine. These are my traveling companions. We've been, well, just about around the world together. This is Blade, Silver String, Bard, Maestro, Gladier, some noble of Hordenshire, Logos, a wood elf who is better than most elves I've met, and Renwick, captain of the Dawn Treader. Everyone,
Renwick tips
this
his
is my
cap.
mother. Initiari.
Initiari kind of just bows, and she's just happy to take your guys' hand and kind of shake it, and she's like attempting to commit your names to memory as you're introduced, and she kind of nods and she turns back to her son. She says, "So everything's fine then? You're what? Great. We'll have to get something going. I got a few errands I have to run. I wasn't expecting any company, but you're staying for dinner. There's no ifs, ands, or buts." And she kind of picks up this like parcel of laundry and like begins tying the satchel together. And prepared to deliver it to somewhere, but she is kind of like going about her morning day. You caught her like before work, rather, so she says, "And I won't hear no ifs, ands, or buts. You're all staying for dinner. I'll be back in an hour." And she packs up this large parcel of blankets and like heaves it onto her back with some like really kind of like old lady villager strength. It is quite the bundle of large thick wool blankets, and she hauls it off out the door and she is gone.
Well, you don't have to tell me twice. And Renwick's gonna kick off his boots and make himself at home and look over at Dardos, and he's gonna pull out the fine tobacco he's been saving. And just like pick this up on our travels. Don't mind sharing if you'd like to pack your pipe.
Oh, what a gentleman. What was your name again?
The name's Turner, Renwick, specifically.
I wouldn't mind a bit of that. He now that his wife's gone, he pulls out the pipe. She'd kind of be upset about smoking in the house, but she'll be gone for a bit.
Yes, always want to live life on the edge.
Indeed. So, what brings you here? Why, halfway around the world, did you say? Like, fill me in. What's going on here? And he happily takes a bit of Renwick's tobacco and fires up one of these wooden corncob kind of pipes.
Well, after I left here, I ended up kind of just hopping around doing pest control. And I ended up in Hordenshire, where I met this ragtag bunch of fools, where we apparently decided to get stupid and topple a queen, if you can imagine that. From there, we traveled to some islands and cured a weird vampire curse upon townspeople, and well, we're still in pursuit of that vampire. So we're here.
So
He left out a lot of
business.
stuff in the middle, but yeah, those are probably the most impressive things we've done as of late.
he's like kind of kind of lost in thought for a moment as he's puffing on this pipe. He's like, so business then. Well, great. I'm happy to accommodate, and this doesn't sound like the safest line of work, but I'm glad you found your calling, I guess. As he puffs upon his pipe, and as it's like a total normal thing to say, chasing vampires and crazy adventures and whatnot.
Yeah, well, safe unfortunately doesn't help. But I could tell you the world out there I've seen definitely does not make me miss the population of Brightwood that much.
Oh, it's not so bad here. We get by, despite what people may think. I have a roof over my head, food in my belly, good company. It's not that bad, but yeah, I mean, the high elves could tone it down a little. That's for sure.
I was actually up in Hordenshire. I was at a university where they had a tiefling professor. I mean, hell, I haven't been shaken down for additional coin from any merchant since really I left.
Well, I'm glad that you found a good use for the economies of the world. We're still backwoods here. It's all we just trade our labor amongst each other. I mean, we're a big enough community now that we've kind of got all our bases covered. We've actually kind of taken a few leaps and bounds forward for whatever reason. I don't reckon you've been in town very long, but Tutu has kind of been looking out for us, despite him not having the best reputation for the high elves. He's very loyal to his own stock, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't make us look any in a better light to them when somebody who's kind of known to be a criminal is the number one like guardian of the neighborhood, type of situation.
Yeah, well, I don't think it would matter who was in charge for them. I think every one of us is a criminal anyway.
They certainly seem like it. Cross the other side of the road and clutch their coin purses when they see us coming. Yeah.
So we heard high elves have been getting picked up.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 3 attacks on Siluran just this week alone. And just kind of seems to always strike at the right opportunity. Some of the elves are scrupulous because the most of the fighting doesn't seem to find its way into our district here. But the seems like some powerful someones perhaps, but they have been making a good run at entering the city and taking a handful of prisoners, from what I hear. Elves, if they can get their hands on them. I'd imagine for like ransom or something, but I don't know. I'm just I'm the door-to-door repairman, essentially. They don't let me know much of their inner secrets or anything, but from what I can tell, there's something's afoot. Just don't really know what. The elves seem to handle it all right, though. None of the attacks seem to have gotten far or done much damage.
Well, that's a positive at least. We're actually making our way to Macademilect Academy.
For why? The elves offer you a good job there, doing some magical beastie getting out of its cage or something?
No, they'd probably just use us for janitorial work if they could. No, we're headed to the realm of the Drow. That's where our lead is taking us.
Now you're going beyond dangerous. Then I hear not many good things about the Underdark or the Drow in particular.
No, but it'll be fine. Just trying to get to another area, and that's the way we have to go. So, and I'm pretty sure it's the Drow doing all this kidnapping too.
Yeah, I heard rumor about that too. The Drow were upset about something, but I'm not an elf. They don't. I don't know what they would be upset about, really.
Oh, they don't like getting their asses kicked, looking bad. So, what's new in town?
Like I was saying before, I don't know if you recall a fella by the name of Tutu. He's been running around here for a while, a fellow tiefling. But he's had like an up and comings lately. He's one of the few tieflings in the district that was willing to deal with coin. We mostly just kind of keep to ourselves, but he's set himself up nice. He's got himself a nice little club, the Twin Horns, and it's literally the only building in our community that's been like built from decent materials. Like he actually ordered the materials from the elves, paid good coin for it, and I helped him install a few things, a few doors, a few windows, sculpted a thing or two here or there for him, but. For the most part, he's done pretty well for himself. But his club's a little rough and rowdy, but nice little hall he's got, gambling hall. I don't think he plays by the rules very much, though. The elves are not the fondest of him. I've seen him haul him away on more than one occasion. Seems to always get out, though. I mean, I don't know what his deal is, but he seems to be the face of our community. And while he is an honest person with a big heart, he's also very tiptoeing along the lines of being a criminal most of the time, and that's how the high elves perceive him anyway, and thus us as well, as kind of bullshit. But it is a fun club, and he's got some strong liquor and pretty ladies too. He kind of eyes the lot of you.
Is he at least good for the community?
Yeah, he's been a sort of de facto leader of sorts, but I mean, he kind of looks. He looks over to your party. I'm gonna roll an insight check real quick. He looks over to your party and he looks back to you, and he says, "Yeah, he's been a leader of sorts, but just between us here," he kind of says to your party, "It's no secret that he's running a thieves guild. He's not on the up and up, but he's just squirrely enough to stay one step ahead of these elves, and most of the community respects him for it."
Well, that's the policy. You don't steal from the tieflings. We don't care what you do to the elves, though. No offense, Lucas. Poor Blade.
Oh, none taken.
Yeah, none taken.
That's only
would
half
I-
offensive to Blade. Wink.
Can I roll a history check to see if I know this Tutu?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a history check.
23.
You would recall Tutu from your childhood. He was always kind of like a little more brutish, kind of a bully, but he was a loner. Like whoever was supposed to be looking out for him didn't really do a good job. But he was a little older than you, so you guys didn't necessarily run in the same crowd, but you just knew like he was kind of a bully, and that while he didn't necessarily bully you, a lot of people you may have known or hung out with were kind of afraid of him because of his kind of brutish nature. And you would know he was like one of the bad kids growing up. He was one of the first to try to pick a pocket, and a pocket of blade and things like that. Like definitely kind of a rough and tumble type. but from what you recall, this was many, many years ago.
So no surprise.
Correct.
Well, that not to be in a position, but would it be all right if we crash the night here, so we can set out in the morning after a good, well homemade dinner?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, your mother would nail me to the floor if you didn't stay the night. Yeah, come on this way. I mean, you've been out for a bit, but we kind of we haven't done much with your old room. He kind of walks to the end of this main hall kind of room that you guys are in, and there look to be several rooms. Not several, three in particular, and they are not necessarily. Fixed with doors. It looks like these walled off cubbies seem to be able to give a bit of privacy, but it's like a hanging curtain that kind of flows open, acting as like a makeshift door and wall, rather than actual a lockable door or anything. But he leads you back to one of these rooms, and Locris, your bedroom looks to be remaining untouched. It even looks like freshly cleaned, as if your mother has just dusted, And so, why don't you tell us what your childhood bedroom looks like?
So I may imagine it has a nice but simple bed, a kind of red and black patterned quilt on top, very bare, just whatever you could get sort of deal. But a few knickknacks found along the way.
And so, after revealing Locris's room, there's a room next to it that looks to just be containing like a bunch of it's like storage for blankets and a bunch of there looks to be like a tool bench in there. And he Dardos quickly cleans a few things up and sweeps a few things aside and makes so at least there's a couple of bedrooms for you guys to share for the evening.
Well, throw your stuff down and claim a cot or a spot on the floor.
Lucas, do you think we have a little time for a nap before your mom comes home with dinner? Only need about 3-4 hours.
Well, she'll be back. She said an hour, but it's also in the early or semi early morning, so I'm sure you got plenty of time for a nap before dinner in about 10 hours.
Lucas is just gonna plop down on the nearest cot and just start meditating, actually not even meditating, just full on sleeping because it's been a while since he's been exhausted. Well, wake me up before if y'all do anything.
Dardos kind of turns to the lot of you guys. Coffee, tea, anything? Yeah, I don't know. You guys look
I'm
rough.
pretty exhausted, but I'd hate to sleep the day away. So I suppose I'll wait till tonight. But a coffee'd be great.
Yeah, I could go for a little myself, too.
Yeah, coffee wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, whatever you have sounds nice.
He sets off to brewing a pot of coffee for you guys, and the smell and aroma kind of erupts in the small house. Kind of the nowhere to get away from it. Rather, kind of almost overpowering as he pours one strong cup of coffee for each of you.
I think Glader will just kind of take the cup and then he kind of just stands off in the corner and he's just kind of observing and taking in his still relatively new friends, like, childhood home, kind of with a small smile because he's thinking of his own home that he lost, and then his second home that he left behind to, do off and go off and do all these things to help people. Um, so he's just kind of taking it in, sad smile, but not really sad, but just reminiscing and enjoying seeing where Locris grew up.
So while Logus is sleeping and we got time, you guys want to check out the club?
I thought you'd never ask. I would love to.
Yeah, a little caffeine in me. I could use a drink. Got to kill time until bed anyway. Work up an appetite.
All right, well, be safe. There's a handful of ruffians every once in a while. Try not to piss anybody off. Pick any bar fights if you can help it. But yeah, you have my blessing. I have a few things I need to go do as well. So meet back here in, I don't know, a couple hours, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds great. If we don't make it back and our long-eared friend back there wakes up, if you could send him our way, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. Sounds good. So do you wake up Logos and take off to the club?
No, he was very adamant about being tired, so that's a very rude thing to do.
What if we left Archie to just kind of sit by his bedside and let him kind of wave, keep an eye on him?
Now, there's an idea, because Archie could guide him back to us, even if we end up leaving the club before he wakes up.
Well, we could also write a note and just let him know where we're going right now.
That would be the easier thing. Hard to communicate as a crab.
Oh, that's fair. You should perhaps work out Morse code. Clicky clackies and whatnot.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
So Locris will find a parchment and a little quill and write, went club in to find some hosts. Be back later.
Okay, yeah.
Before we leave, is there any concern that the club won't be open given that it is the morning?
No, it's a 24-hour joint. You might not be getting the best service this early, but someone will take your coin, and I'm sure there's a few tables open. It's a gambling sort of establishment, so.
So it's still open. They've just staffed it with the B team. I understand that.
Exactly.
Also, less likely to have a chance of a bar fight.
And B-tier women as well.
Settle down, Blade. You can go a week straight and still have a better average.
Yeah, didn't you say you're pretty exhausted? But then again, you can't spell blade without B.
Oh, too funny.
Well, before we leave, I think I'm just going to leave Archie here anyways. And he's going to take, maybe while Logus is currently meditating, he's going to take Archie and kind of just lightly plop him on top of his head and just be like, we'll keep an eye out on him.
Okay, yeah, you guys kind of leave him a note, leave Archie behind, and then make your way out into this district. And Locris, it's pretty much as you remember it. It's like a ruined. It's almost like old ruins that have been refurbished. Like there's a lot of buildings that are once were like collapsing cathedrals. There's a lot of like spiral staircases made of stone that kind of go to nowhere. A lot of buildings that seem to be missing like the entire second floor of and like crumbled walls and things, but there's draperies, there's kind of like your parents' house looks like various bits of wood and boats and things have been repurposed to kind of serve as doors and walls and windows and whatnot. And you guys kind of it sticks out like a sore thumb. This club, this the twin horn. It's very gaudy. It's like the only nicely made building in the area. You see like fine marble stone and like these rich dark woods kind of make up this building, and it very much reminds you of like the some of the buildings in closer to the more elvish district. But this tavern in combo, as you guys kind of walk in, there are looks to be mostly empty. There is a tiefling at the bar kind of cleaning a glass who eyeballs you guys as you enter. There's a couple of patrons at the bar, but one of them looks to be sleeping and the other looks to be very, very, very deep into his cups. Aside from that, there are many benches and kind of like picnic table-esque setups around the bar, and on the outskirts, up against the wall, there are several green felted tables. However, only one of which at this time actually has an attendee, and it is a tiefling who is dressed fairly nicely in a bit of black, and he seems to be nonchalantly smoking a cigarette and watching you guys as you enter. So as you kind of come into this establishment, you notice that not only all of that I described, but there is a large staircase going both up and down in this room. So as you guys enter, tell me how you guys proceed from here.
Locris will go up to the bar. Say, excuse me, can we get 4 breakfast ales?
Sure thing. He takes no time, just goes over and pours you guys out some of this ale. It's like a lighter honey flavored ale, and as he kind of delivers it up, he says, 4, that'll be 2 gold pieces.
Oh, that's pretty steep.
Yeah, it is. Tiefling with money, huh? He smiles at you. Well, we don't get many of you around here. You from around these parts?
Originally, not lately.
Ah, well, welcome back, I suppose.
And Locris will pass out the beers and go check out the gaming table.
As you guys kind of make your way over to the gaming table, this tiefling that's nonchalantly kind of smoking a cigarette kind of perks up, puts his cigarette out, and says, "Oh, interested in a game?" And he has several dice on the table in one of these in like a small triangle kind of imprint on the felt. And on another small triangle imprint on the felt, he has a deck of cards. And he gestures. Which poison do you prefer? You want to throw some dice, or you want to try your hand with some cards? House rules, obviously.
What are the games?
We got dwarf dice and knuckles for the card games. He kind of gestures. He says, dwarf dice is we each throw down some dice. You can look at it. High score wins. Now, you get 4 die. I get 4 die. High score wins. Ties go to the house. But, high score wins. You can re-roll your 4 dice if you subtract 1 die. So if you get really low and you want to try again, you can re-roll if you like. And Knuckles, on the other hand, is a card game where it's basically 21.
I'll throw down a gold for Knuckles.
And a 1-to-1 bet. He matches your 1 gold. and grabs the cards and begins shuffling them. And he allows you a cut, and then splits the cards up and deals you 2 of them. Go ahead and roll me 2 d10. So you have a 15, he has a 12.
Do they follow normal blackjack rules?
Basically, yeah. So he hits again and gets a 16. And he draws again, which is too many. He busts and pays you out the gold piece.
Well, there we go.
Well played, sir.
Well, with luck like that, I'd be hard pressed not to take you up on at least a game of dwarf dice. And I'll put down 5 gold.
All right, nice. Let's do it. As many participants as you like. High score wins. Pot stays the same. He kind of looks to the crowd if you guys want to play.
Yeah, I'll match 5 gold.
Yeah, same. I'll join in.
Yeah, why not? Let's all go.
Okay, so with the dealer included, it comes out to a pot of 25 gold. Everybody can roll 4d6, and if you like your total, stick with it. If you want to re-roll, you may re-roll 3d6, and house wins any ties.
I got basically the exact middle of the road you can.
I'm going to
And
stay.
so did I.
Oh,
Dang, Blade.
that's all in the fingers.
Yeah, you beat me. I rolled a 15. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I tied you. I got a 17 as well. I actually got the same exact rolls as you. I got 2 6s, a 4, and a 1.
So we're rolling against each other, right?
Or do we split the pot? Because we'd technically each still be up 5 gold.
No. The dealer corrects you. House wins ties. He takes the gold.
Oh, that seems a bit shisty considering you didn't roll dick either times.
Aye, it is, but got to be in the house's favor to make it a business, doesn't it? Care for another round? He puts 5 gold back on the table.
Well, I'm not going to go ruffling any feathers. I'll put 5 more down.
No, I'm out on that one.
Yeah, I'll go one more time, I guess.
Well, let's up the ante. I'll put in 10.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I'll raise it to 10. I'm
Yeah.
flush with cash.
We're
I
all
don't
friends,
say that
yeah?
part out loud.
Okay, so the dealer will match your 10, and so Renwick, Blade, and Gladier also 10?
Yep.
All right, so the pot is
Take
at
my-
40. Everybody go ahead and roll 46.
Fuck.
I am re-rolling. You said you just drop a die and roll 3.
Correct.
Oh, do I want to do that?
I'm gonna
Fuck
re-roll.
me.
Man, I've rolled so many d6s for this guy. He's just not having any good luck. Dealer shows 12. That's all he can muster.
Fuck it, I'm gonna lose anyway, so I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna drop the 1.
Yep,
And,
I'm out. I'm busting, but not in the way I want.
Shit. Well, I would have lost anyway because of fucking tie.
Well, it seems like luck's in your favor today. By the way, I didn't catch your name.
Most people just call me Tommy. Nice to meet you. I deal cards and run dice here. Just honest living, you know? He smiles at you as he collects the coin from the table and puts it in a tray behind him. Care for another round? Maybe switch up your luck, play some cards.
Well, tell me this: in my experience, the people that are dealing cards and dice are also usually dealing in a number of other things behind the scenes, or at least know the people that are. Did you happen to be a fellow like that?
I don't know what you may or may not have heard, but go ahead and give me a persuasion check there, Renwick.
All right. Haven't had to make one of those in a while. Let's see. +3, but I think I'm rolling disadvantage because I'm exhausted. First one's a 13, second one's a 12.
He kind of looks you up and down. I don't know who told you what, but you know we run things straight here. It's a nice community, and it would be against my civil duty to do anything illegal in and around this establishment.
And Renwick will just reply back to him in thieves' cant and just be like, "Oh yes, we wouldn't expect anything crass or unruly to be going on behind the scenes in such a fine establishment."
So Renwick, when you strike up thieves' cant, like what kind of like code are you using here? Like obviously you're talking about something else to mean something else. So like, the party looking on, not knowing thieves' cant. Like how do you change this? What is your like cover conversation rather? Like what do they perceive to be hearing you talk about this individual with?
Speaks
So
in Klingon.
yeah, I was gonna say I've never actually understood if thieves' cant was like a code that you talk in common in, or if it is like a series of kind of unofficial words. So in my head, it almost sounds like halfling, where it's to a degree kind of sounds like gibberish, and every now and then you catch like an inkling of a word.
Okay, yeah. So as you kind of drop this kind of coded language, this almost like halfling slang, and you tell him he kind of he responds back to you in the same manner. You guys looking on are just kind of seeing. Looks like Renwick and this guy are having a casual conversation. You guys have no fucking idea what they're talking about. They're speaking this weird like underwater halfling slurred language almost. But as you kind of bust out thieves' cant, the guy seems to like visibly relax. He's like, you could have just said you were cool, man. What are you looking for? I got your back."
Oh, my
Real quick,
friend here was looking to patch things up with an old friend of his, and he'll kind of gesture over to Locris.
I really don't know.
Interesting. Well, I know a lot of people around here. I could give you directions or something. Um, Go ahead and give me a history check there, Chris. Do you know Tommy?
Apparently not.
Well, not anyone you recall from your past, anyway. But he strikes up another smoke and takes a long drag. kind of gestures to the table. You guys interested in playing some more, or
I figure probably waste an hour or two just throwing cards, but don't want to RP an hour or two of playing cards.
Okay, just give me a pure luck check.
Yeah, I think I would just kind of hang around and shoot the shit with him. We know that we have a connection if we want to explore it now. And I think kind of just keeping an eye on who's maybe coming into the bar in the wee hours of the morning, who's maybe coming up or down those stairs this early, maybe from the night before kind of thing. Just kind of playing it cool, playing games, and watching the place intently.
Avery is not having it tonight. But reason I asked about the Bulgariad is there's this country of people there, and they act as merchants, but they are all spies basically. And the way they talk to each other is they'll have a conversation and their fingers are moving, like in a sign language, and that's the real information. So that'd be a cool way to do thieves' cant. Is you're talking about the weather, but your hands are talking about what you stole.
I think that's pretty solid, especially being a very dexterous person, and like thieves in general are dexterous. I think hand signals while talking about something entirely different is a good way to interpret thieves' cant. So, Sean, if you're cool with that, moving forward, Renwick will just make hand signals for thieves' cant.
Perfect, yeah. It's like, its own secret sign language for sure.
Disadvantage with a tentacle.
Nah, man, I can bend those things into shapes. I can practically spell it out.
Locris, with I believe, a 6 on your luck check, you are, unfortunately, it costs you about 20 gold pieces. The card guy kind of gets your number. Tommy seems to swindle you a bit. You lose more than you win.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And as you guys kind of linger about, there's not a lot of action going on during the wee hours of the morning here. Looks like a skeleton crew. But Locris, you do get a good view of whom you believe to be Tutu, this red tiefling with a pretty good smile and a very kind of like almost like a Metastophelian like beard, he kind of with his like red skin and his dark black horns, he's got a very devilish look, and his hair is black and slicked back, and he's got like sleek leather and several pouches upon his belt that look to be swollen coin purses. He kind of jingles as he walks, and he comes down the stairs and makes his way over to the barkeep, manages to procure some breakfast and a breakfast ale, and he's just kind of hanging out in the his establishment, and you definitely clock this as that's the guy.
Well, Renwick, if you're looking for a new side job, there's the guy to talk to apparently.
And since we've made friends with Tommy here and wasted a fair amount of money, I think I'll look over at him and just be like, so what's that guy's deal? I take it not necessarily the smartest idea just to walk up and talk to him. I'm assuming there's some proper channels to go around here. Bit of a chain of command type situation.
I mean, he's the owner and proprietor of this club, and if you want to go say hi, he's a pretty friendly guy. Just keep honest around him. He's got a nose for liars and cheats, man. I don't know how to explain it, but that guy, he's got like a sixth sense about things. It's really weird, but he's real personable, real nice guy. Go say hi. He'll might buy you a drink.
Yeah, well, that's rather refreshing. Does anybody else want to go say hi to the owner, or are we comfortable over here by the tables? Just kind of look around at the party.
I'll follow along. It's always always interesting watching you, use your silver tongue. No offense, Blake. You also have a silver tongue, and it's very interesting to watch. But yeah,
Mine's more of like a silver coated tongue, like there's not really a whole lot of silver there. It looks good up front, but Blade here. Well, if we're making new friends, probably the man we want to have speaking for us, or at least with us.
I do tend to mingle well with others, but if you guys want to go ahead and check in with him, I could also check in on Logos to make sure he's all right at the home there.
Oh, he's probably just snoozing. I wouldn't worry too much about him. Out of game, what exactly do we potentially want to talk to Tutu about? Like, how do we want to approach this?
I didn't think there was anything to really need to discuss with him unless you want to get a take on what he has going on with the Thieves Guild, but it
I
was
think
just
it
more of
was
a
like this might be a potential source for information about what's going on in the area if he's linked into the underground society. But if you guys don't think it's worth talking to, then let's not waste our time.
well, you never know. That's the problem.
yeah. I mean, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think, like you said, like you could probably have like the ear to the ground, kind of know what's going on. You might be able to get some more information.
Yeah, when
I mean,
you control the thieves, they're all out in the street. You probably know more what's going on than anyone else.
yeah, I mean, he's probably got a fair amount of information. He might have some jobs or gigs that we might be interested in. And if anything, it probably wouldn't hurt to just have, the leader of the Thieves Guild at least know who we are and that we're in town, since I can kind of ride that line with most Thieves Guilds, it seems. At least it's served true so far. We helped start one.
Or at least thieves guilds that aren't headed up by somebody with the T letter.
Yeah, fuck Teddy.
Fucking Teddy.
All right, let's all go up and say hi.
All right, fair enough. And I'm going to finish my drink since Tommy said that the owner might buy me a drink.
As you guys kind of get together and make your way towards this tiefling tutu, you finish your drinks and whatnot, and you notice a human man. It looks. Man is a strong word. Teenager easily comes running in like a courier. Look, obviously not so sleekly dressed, and he runs right up to Tutu and jumps kind of on his stool and whispers something in his ear, and then he takes off. And Tutu kind of nods and goes back to finishing his breakfast. As you guys kind of approach, the barkeep comes over as well, and Tutu kind of regards you. He's like, welcome to my establishment. I hope you find everything to your liking. He kind of looks over and he catches eyes with Locris. Let me make a roll here. He looks at you for a moment and he's like, Larry? Leo? Leonard? You're Dardos's kid, right?
Yes, Locris.
Locris, that's right. Nice to see you around. It's been some time. How have you been? Your father, he been quite the help here. Put together those doors for me. He points to like some like swivel doors that kind of go into the kitchen. And he's like, he fixed a couple of creaky steps. He kind of gestures to this like big grand stairway. Like, man, that guy's a godsend. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, almost anywhere else in this world, and probably would have made a nice living for himself.
I don't know. He seems to be doing all right by me. He's a pretty happy guy.
Yeah, that's the one thing you gotta say is no matter what life threw at them, they always took it with a smile.
So,
But
what brings you here? He kind of looks to you, and you notice his eyes like flick to your companions real quick as he kind of takes scope of everyone.
oh, we're just following some leads on some international business, and heard that there was actually a nice place headed up by one of our people. So of course, got to check it out. 'Cause that's what our community does: support each other when no one else will.
Ah, that's what I like to hear. Hey, get these guys around on me. He kind of looks to the bartender who obliges and provides another round of this honey mead.
Renwick
But
just mouths called it to the party as he sips on his free beer.
but this is one of my partners, Renwick. He's in sort of the same line as you. Uh, not in terms of running these fine establishments, but others. So, kind of trying to get a little information.
Oh, wow. Information, like all commodities, it's it's not something that we just give away, as you know. Everything has a price. Hello, Chris. He smiles at you. Depends on what you need to know and how deep your pockets are. Depends on what I could maybe kind of sort of find out for you.
Well, primarily, we're trying to find out what's going on with these kidnappings, as well as what's going down at the academy, if you know anything.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
A 24.
He gives you a quick up and down, but he kind of, well, I don't know a lot about the goings on in the academy, but I know that there are a few warehouses that may or may not be missing a few items off their ledger. I don't know that they're quite aware of yet. But aside from that, it's buttoned up tight. It's hard to get anything in or out of there. You gotta have a royal decree, or literally signed not by like a lord, like literally the king of Brightwood. Like high elves, they like to keep everybody out of everything. They love excluding people and only promoting themselves. But this is like the area of the high elves where they even like to discriminate against other high elves, like the elite snobbery club. So don't really feel bad about these things going missing here and there. But yeah.
Great. So to get to the academy, we need royalty decrees, and the prince decided to lock himself up in a tower with half the army there.
Oh yeah, that's weird enough, and weird that you'd be asking me about the kidnappings because the frickin' elves come in here and grill me about that shit all the time, like I have something to do with it. They're ridiculous. They're obnoxious, but I am in the same boat as everyone else. I don't know much, and I got to protect what's mine here. So I don't know. Elves can be tricky.
Have you ever heard of a man named Amorphous?
He kind of like chokes up as he's like taking a swig. Kind of gags a little bit on his ale. God damn it. Uh, well, Wilkers, as much as I would love to continue our conversation, I'm afraid anything past this point, aside from the common civil courtesies, of course, is gonna have to cost you.
Yeah.
Renwick's gonna roll a bloodstone across the table to him, worth 50 gold.
You got 5 minutes. He takes the bloodstone and puts it in his pocket. What do you want to know?
Everything you know on Amorphous.
He pays fucking great.
So you're working with him.
Ish, I guess. You could say. Not really. More benefit from a bit of knowledge that he put into my hands.
And what would this knowledge be? Because he's been stirring up trouble across the world.
Well, you know, maybe we should take a walk, huh? Let's do this upstairs. I got a private quarters. Keep the bar locked down. He kind of gestures to the bartender. Don't let anybody swindle you. If I see Tommy over there smoking another cigarette before he sweeps the fucking floor, I'm gonna come unglued. And the barkeep kind of looks over at Tommy and kind of gives him like the throat cut action, and Tommy immediately puts a cigarette out and starts sweeping. Tutu kind of chuckles, "Follow me," and he heads upstairs.
Do we get the impression that Tommy wasn't actually the guy running the table and he literally just scammed us to play cards and dice?
Give me an insight check.
Let me get back to my table. I actually, for a very long time, didn't have an insight bonus because I had a slot on my character sheet unfilled. I now have one, and I still rolled a 5 for a 9.
That's probably exactly what happened.
I want to insight check Tutu to see if he's walking us into a trap.
Okay, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Yeah, Glader would like to join in on that too, because he's been observing this whole conversation, and he's still to this day scarred by Teddy.
18 for Locris.
I also got an 18 on 2-2.
I shit you not. I also got an 18. Rolled a 17 plus 1 insight. We're all just the same level of paranoid.
Damn it. 15.
So Tutu's pretty good at kind of hiding his emotions and being pretty guarded and not kind of revealing his hand like during like conversations and things. Tutu's hard to read. You guys don't get much, but you with an 18 pretty much across the board, you guys do realize that he looked to be uncomfortable talking about Amorphous in public. Like he doesn't. That's not common knowledge, is what you guys kind of pick up.
Locris will follow. Just and give that little head nod, like "Let's go" to the others.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick right with Lokers.
And
Okay.
Glader would fall in the rear. Cover our back.
So as you guys make your way up to the office, we're gonna shoot back over to a sleeping Logos. Logos, as you are snoozing, you are awoke by a loud bang, 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 bang on the front door of the home that you are sleeping in. You hear Dardos shuffle about. You smell the rich kind of burning tobacco. And he cracks the door open and begins having kind of a muffled conversation. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Uh, 23.
With a 23, you definitely hear Dardos talking to someone, and it sounds like a younger tiefling. He says, "Hey, so Inatiari sent this one over here, and my pops said for some of the repairs you did, you have your pick. So either way, I guess they're both coming to you. Your wife already paid for one, so here you go. And he says, well, excellent, thank you. And he closes the door and walks over to his kitchen area. Lucas, with that high of a roll, you do see these large fish, from Dardos is probably the size of a normal man, and from his shoulder is where he's kind of holding this fish in its lip. Its tail dangles down to the floor. Like, it is a massive fish of some kind, and he slaps them both down on this countertop, and he starts sharpening a knife. And as you hear the shling shling of this knife kind of going back and forth, yet another much softer knock at the door. He kind of sighs and walks over and opens the door, and as he does so, a small kind of robed, cloaked figure kind of enters the room. He says, well, I wasn't expecting you today. Well, and he sheds this cloak, and as he does, it is a tall high elf. It looks to be, as you kind of peek out from behind this curtain, it looks like a member of the royal guard. He doesn't seem to be a soldier. He is not wearing the full plate armor of all these high elves that you have seen before, but he does seem to be wearing a fitted breastplate of very fine quality. Seems to shimmer and shine. And he says, Dardos. And Dardos responds, Captain, good to see you. And he says, well, I just, the captain replies to Dardos, I just came across some great news. The architectural schematics that you had kind of submitted. First of all, of the 1,129 applicants, only 3 of them were not High Elven. One of them was you. So it was bad odds off the bit. But believe it or not, the final three submissions, yours was in consideration. You've made an impact. Even it's. I knew this would happen, but I just came to tell you the good news. And Dardos is yeah, really, awesome. That's I figured that if they could just see what the schematic, the blueprints were, then they might be more willing to accept it, even if maybe not in their established community. And they both kind of laugh at that, at the phrase established community. Almost like inside joke there, Logos. And as you're kind of peering in, let me make a roll real quick. This elf's eyes dart straight to yours, and then his hand drops to his blade. He says, Dardos, do you know we're not alone here? And Dardos is sorry, he's a friend of my son's. They're staying. They're just a bit out the club, having a drink. He kind of looks back, a little early for that. But anyway, he lets his guard down and says, hail to you, stranger. Sorry for interrupting. He kind of waves to you, Logos.
Sorry for listening in. I was just woke up. I was kind of confused of where everyone was at.
Archie kind of claps his way down your shoulder. Nonetheless, pleasure to meet you. I was just relaying some news to my friend Dardos here. Anyway, so while you did make it to the final 3 for consideration, Dardos, I regret to inform you that your final draft was not the one picked, but you made it to the end, which is impressive. You should continue to strive for this, and Dardos is like kind of floored. He's like he was so elated to be chosen, but then when he kind of breaks the news, you can see Dardos is kind of bummed about it. Like, well, at least I was considered, right? And my boy and a bunch of his friends showed up, so we'll might have a celebratory dinner anyway. Thanks for stopping by, Captain. Appreciate that. No, it's not easy. He kind of nods. He's like, yeah, agreed. So he turns his attention to Logos. Logos, he kind of eyeballs you up and down. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
Oh man, that is it's a 19 on the die for +8. 20. That's my insight. 27 total.
With the 27 total, you can see he's like gauging you. Like he's almost like sizing you up, and as his eyes kind of hover over your gear and things, he seems very forward, and he looks legitimately concerned. And he steps forward to you and asks, "Hey, by any chance, out in your travels, have you encountered anything weird in Brightwood?"
Define weird. As an adventurer, we come across so many things.
Weird, unusual. Any beasts of a normal size? Perhaps any bugbear attacks? Any run-ins with any magical creatures as of late?
Yeah, actually, we help defend Lord. What's his name? I'll just say his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The town was overrun by bugbears. We actually helped defend the town, and also we were attacked in the middle of the night on our camp by an old woman and some giant shadow frogs. That was pretty weird.
Indeed. He kind of he looks his eyes narrow. He's not sure if he believes you or not. But he says, "Well, interesting. You defended Led Lytton, Lord Svelison, perhaps. He probably would be able to vouch for this, right? Like he wouldn't. He doesn't have a reason not to, right?"
Oh, of course. Tell him Blade Silverstring and his friends are here. He'll remember us for sure.
Let me roll a dice real quick. Nope, that's a critical fail. 1. He says, "Oh, okay." He kind of doesn't seem to have heard of Blade Silverstring or the Sands of Justice or anything at the moment, but alas, he says, "Well, anyway, Dardros." He turns his attention back. I was in the neighborhood. I wanted to stop by. I have something I would like to give to you, but alas, it's not quite completed. It would be easier if maybe you could come pick it up. Do you think maybe you could meet somewhere in one of the outer city markets or something?" And Dardos kind of nods. "Yes, absolutely. Like I said, my son's in town. I'll be entertaining him and some guests, but perhaps late this eve or early tomorrow morning." And he says, excellent, thank you. I'll be going. And he kind of he bows out and leaves. And Dardos kind of closes the door behind him and turns to you, Logos, and says, "Well, sorry for interrupting your nap. The boys went down to the club. It's just around the corner there. If you care to have a drink, Or you could help me chop up and season these fish. He kind of raises an eyebrow to you.
Uh, yeah, I don't mind helping. I've been known to clean a fish pretty well.
Ah, excellent. He tosses a paring knife or a fillet knife, kind of a little too haphazardly towards you, but yeah, he kind of gestures over to the kitchen and begins like unshelving some herbs and things.
Um, I don't mean to pry. And if I'm being too, uh, if I'm being too forward or putting my nose where it doesn't belong, please just tell me. But what did he mean? What did he mean the finalist for what? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, I've been doing some handyman services around town just to kind of, make ends meet and whatnot, but I really am kind of into like architecture and whatnot. But I noticed all the fancy high elven architecture around here, and I kind of I put a weird spin on it. I don't necessarily know how they, the high elven way of doing things, but I know that given enough time and the right resources, I can make something similar, high quality, and even sometimes possibly more durable. Yeah, it's just a different way of warping and gluing and bending the wood, but it looks nice. It's fancy. It's frilly. I figured the elves might be sold on it. Get me a little better station around here. Could use a stable or something too, maybe a chicken coop. I don't know.
So makes me wonder, did they choose the others because they were better, or did they choose them because they were high elves? And he'll say it with a little disdain when he says high elves.
Ah, well. Either way, they've just been raised for so long to think their way's the right way that they're blind to maybe better ways, but at least that's what I thought. But the fact that I made it through some over like 1,000 entries to the very end says a lot. Says a lot. Maybe the process is not as discriminatory as I thought, but I still didn't win. But to be considered gives me hope. Maybe I'll try again. Put together another project or two.
I mean, if anything, it speaks to the expertise in your craft if you were able to make it this high amongst these snobs.
Right, right. It's about that moment, Logos, that the door bursts open, and Inatiari comes back in, and she is laden with a bunch of looks like fabric and things, and she hauls it over to the table and gives it a mighty heave, drops it onto the table with a loud thud, kind of sighs. She's like, oh, well, you there? Where's the boys? What's going on, Dardos? And he says, they went for a drink. He's helping in the kitchen. And she kind of looks to you, Logos. She says, oh, no, 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 no. None of my son's friends are going to labor here. You go sit. You sit down, and I'll bring you some tea right now. You sit down. And she almost forcefully insists that you sit at one of her comfy plush tables.
No, it's really okay. Not much of a drinker, and I've I've gutted and cleaned fish my whole life. I mean, I really don't mind helping. It'll help pass time until they get back, because I don't even know where they went. They just left little Archie here, and I just found out they went to the club, but I really don't mind helping.
Absolutely not. You are a guest here. You are not going to sully your hands with the dirty smell of fish. Now sit down. And she kind of like stares at you with like a crazy fire in her eye.
Okay, then Logos will sit down.
And as you sit down, you are swiftly brought a light blanket to cover your lap, a glass of warm tea with the smell of lemon and honey, and on top of that, she swooshes in with a bit of like some light like snacks, like a bowl full of fruits and things, and she kind of sets it on the near the chair you're sitting in. She says, "So now." She sits across from you. Tell me everything. Where do you meet my son? What have you guys been doing? Spill all the beans before the boys get back. I need to know. Gossip away. And she kind of stares at you.
Well, what would you like to know? I don't even know where to begin. We, I met your son in Hordenshire. I was there looking for my father, and we happened across who became a very close friend who needed help, and I mean, from then on, we haven't left each other's side. It's I don't even know where to start. It's been a crazy. How long have we known each other in game time?
In game time, each arc has taken roughly 30 days. So since beginning of meeting in Hotma until this very moment, you're looking at, it's probably been about 3 months since you guys, well, not even that, 2 months, one for each arc, and you're about 6 days into this arc. So it wasn't exactly 30 days. I think it was like 31 or 32 days for each arc, something like that. So it has not really actually been that long. It's only been a few months.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, it's been. Oh, believe it or not, we've only known each other about 2 months, and I think we've had more adventure than most people have in a lifetime. It's been crazy.
She leans in, and her body language is like super interested, and her eyes get wide as she kind of like focuses in on some of your stories. And before you divulge too much, we are going to go back to the sorry, escaped my name. Tutu. We are cutting back to Tutu's office in his fine gambling establishment. As you guys are all walked into, it looks very like how you would picture like an executive office. He has a very large desk with several small chairs for you guys to sit in, and he sits behind his large like mahogany desk full of trinkets and like golden quills and pen and inkwells and things. A few parchments are scattered about, but the one thing that he has that seems to be free, passing about freely, is a very large liquor decanter. Looks to be made of like crystal. And he pours himself and a stiff drink and gestures to the rest of you. Please help yourselves. So, as he gets comfortable and sits back on his chair and kicks his feet up, makes sure he gestures to, you guys close the door behind you as you enter. And as you kind of sit and these make yourself comfortable in these leather chairs while he sits behind this massive desk with his feet propped up on it, he kind of looks to you guys and says, "So, what? This is a little more private place to talk. So, what do you need to know there, Locris?" He smiles at you.
Well, we've been to a couple different places with seems to be a newer slave trade going on. And almost coincidentally, Amorphous seems to be prevalent in each of those locations. Now, we come here and people are being kidnapped, probably for a slave trade. If I were a guessing man.
Interesting. Well, I know this. I have a finger or two in a lot of pies around here, and there is no active slave trade in Brightwood. Not on this scale. I would know about it. Trust me.
Locris will pull out the letter from that Amorphous wrote to the rich businessman and kind of read it out.
As you kind of do so, go ahead and give me an insight check. The party can give me an insight check, rather.
Can Logos do a long distance insight just on vibes?
Yeah, see how
Renwick
well
got a
Dardos is
22.
preparing the fish? Is he fucking it up? Because you're pretty good at it, and he's average, so.
Is Logris's mom and I hitting it off? Or
12 for Locris.
I got another 18. I rolled a 17 again.
22.
Oh, shit.
22, nice. Renwick, you pick up. He's as Locris starts reading this letter, he swallows hard and kind of goes pale. Look, where did you say you got that from, Locris?
Oh, Amorphous gave it to me.
He gave it to you? Why would he give
Yeah.
it to you?
We're actually getting pretty close
Close to what?
to each other, Kind of looking at since we travel around the world, setting up more business arrangements on his behalf.
You could say we go way back.
Ooh, go ahead and give me a deception check, and I'll let you make it with advantage.
21. Or no, 22. Plus 9 now.
He kind of exhales. He's like, oh, thank God. It's weird when people that I don't know have information on me that I don't know, though, Chris. But yeah, I get that. It's like the pie thing that we've got going here. The little pie setup. I mean, he pays good, and I mean, nobody around here gets hurt. He smiles.
So is it just high elves you've been rounding up for him?
Oh no! We don't do any of the rounding up. You see, that's not exactly how it works on my end. I gotta stay as clean as possible. These fucking high elves, they finger me every time. I've been down to their dungeons probably a dozen times in the last month alone. Like, they are always fucking with me, so I have to keep as squeaky clean as possible. So the rounding up of them is not my business, but what is my business is, obviously information. I would wager that maybe that 5 minutes is maybe up. I could use another one of those fancy gems there, tentacle hand, help jog the memory. He smiles at you, Renwick.
We might have something lying around here. He kind of looks around at the party. Shit. I'm not attuned to my ring. I would love to be able to fucking speak to you guys right now.
Sean.
Yeah.
So I have a red jewel fire opal that allows me to use Zone of Truth one time. Is it something that obviously pops off, or is it something like if I hand it to him, it would just be able to start off?
I'll say that anyone observing it would probably be able to detect it, but you do have a strange grip on shadowy magic in general. So I will let you make either a sleight of hand or an Arcana check to use the item stealthily, if you'd like.
Real quick, because I've actually also looked into this because I had this spell prepared, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. According to the language of the spell, if whoever you cast it on or is in that zone of truth knows they're having the spell used against them, because they can avoid telling the truth or avoid answering or they can't avoid telling the truth, but they can avoid answering the question. They just can't lie, but they know it's happening.
Ah, well, it's in the actual language of the spell, so.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I missed that part. I
But
thought it was like friendship where they know after the fact.
yeah, I think Glader though, kind of playing off of realizing what's going on, like the ruse they're starting, kind of like she was kind of standing towards the back of the room behind Bokris, Blade, and Renwick, kind of just trying to be that like guard imposing force kind of vibe. He kind of steps up. Now, as my employer here, Locris, has told you, we're getting mighty close to Amorphous. Probably a bit closer than you are. And he's sent us here to ensure that his investments are properly secured and he's not wasting any time. So, I think you should answer any of the questions that we have, or else it might come back to bite you in the ass and you might not, get as smooth a business as you have been lately, or any additional information to make your business even better.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check, lady.
Okay. Oh boy, don't fuck me. Okay, dirty 20. Thank God.
He kind of looks at you and he's like, "What?" Like, he sent you to like check up on it. I mean, it works. I mean, what more does he? What more does he expect? We put the pies out. They fucking work. We put the little scribbles in the woods on the other side of town, and bada boom, bada bing. Fucking payday. It's like it's been going off like clockwork.
Well, why don't you tell us the details of your operation just so we can report back and make sure? Because, like I said, he just wants to know that his investments are being spent and utilized wisely for his betterment.
Let me roll a dice real quick. His eyes kind of narrow at you. Like, you want me to explain to you the whole operation. Is that right? He's kind of eyes narrow and stares you down.
Maybe more broad strokes. We don't need supremely intimate details, but if you want all the benefits that come with working with Amorphous, he wants to make sure that he's getting benefits in kind.
Hey, nobody said nothing about like no review or anything. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of weird.
You're dealing with a vampire from the Shadow Realm. You think this is weird?
He looks at you kind of questioningly. He's like, "What? What possibly makes you think that?"
As I've said, we've been dealing with Amorphous. He is a vampire. As he was converting an entire nation of islands. He's from Shadowfell because I have connections there as well, and they've explained as much.
I mean, he was kind of a creepy guy, but I definitely didn't get vampire vibes. I've only had to deal with him a handful of times, but he was really kind of like really mellow, chill, and actually really pleasant to be around. He was quite a gentleman, actually, and has been quite a profitable business partner. Locris, go ahead and give me an insight or an arcana check. Same with
27
okay, never mind.
Arcana.
With a 27 Arcana, Locris, when he talks about amorphous perch, he gets a weird little tingly, like looking glazed in his eye, and you get a strong sense that this is like the lingering effects of a powerful charm person spell. The wool has been pulled over this guy's eyes and thoroughly as to the evil ways of amorphous perch.
Let me try something. You seem to have something going on. And Locris will reach into his bag of holding, will pull out the crow skull necklace and put it on. Then the mask, porcelain mask from a cult leader, and put it on. And then he'll pull out his mud and stick figure and he'll start kind of dancing around, chanting, just really playing it up. And then cast Dispel Magic on 4th level on 2/2.
Okay, go ahead and give me a performance check along with this Dispel Magic.
12.
With a 12, you do a good enough job. You kind of sell it, and as you go to cast this Dispel Magic, he's not a mage. He reacts in a way that he thinks he's being attacked. As you cast this spell, he pulls a blade and quickly has it to your throat. But not only that, he also pulls at the same time a crossbow from somewhere beneath the desk. And so he has firmly pointed a crossbow at the head of Gladier while holding a blade to your neck. But the Dispel Magic goes off and he pauses. And there is a strange clarity for a moment. And he looks confused. He looks back and forth. And as it kind of dawns upon him, he's like, "Oh, that motherfucker!" And he kind of plumps down in his chair, relinquishing his weapons, and he just looks distraught. He's like he's got a 1,000-yard stare, and he is he's reeling from this newfound information.
Well, we'll give you a minute. You might want to call for a glass of water, and then we can have a serious discussion.
He uncorks his crystal decanter of booze and takes a hefty swig and then sets it down. And he sighs. He's like, "Oh, shit."
Go on.
So, damn. So, long story short, we knew he was going to make moves. He told us he was. He's told us he's going to make moves on the High Elves specifically, but there might be some collateral damage. He told us that the pie, we put out the pie, and let me just show you. He grabs like what looks like an old pie tin, and he takes it from kind of near the window in this room, and he brings it over and shows the inside of this pie tin has like some runes of some kind. It looks some sort of magic in it. He says, "We put the pie tin out with a fresh baked pie. The area of protection extends to everywhere that in the vicinity. So the pie comes out, and we're safe. That's how it's supposed to work. Well, at least that's what I've told everyone. But there's the other end of the pie is that we got to take this symbol." And he points to the symbol inside the pie tin. These arcane runes positioned in various ways. He says we take something like that, and we go, we etch this symbol into the earth in the outskirts of the city. And I don't know nothing official. He doesn't tell me, but now that I'm not looking the other way, wherever we drop these symbols seems to be where the bugbears come from. This is some sort of port key, some sort of teleportation magic, and the pies are some sort of like protection magic. We set something innocuous on the windowsill, and it keeps the damn bugbears from coming through our neighborhoods. That's why the high elves been giving me the finger, because they think that I'm fucking doing this somehow, but I'm not. But I am. He kind of looks back, confused at his own words. But this is not. I'm not the only one. I'm one of many that he's shared these secrets with. Everybody from guild members, guild mates, to just like the average family out there.
Can I pull out the ears from the bugbear? The two bugbears that I had. I have one from the captain and one from where's I think just some regular old bugbear. Yeah, one common soldier and one chieftain. Can I try and compare them to the runes on the tin and the rune that he kind of showed us as an example to summon the bugbears, to see if they're? I mean, I'm assuming they're similar, but just kind of doing due diligence.
Yeah, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
14 on the die for 18. I'm really good tonight. Jeez.
They look to be similar symbols. None of them match up particularly, but you find like one of the symbols on the back of this ear, this like arcane runes. You find the entire symbol within the symbol on the pie tin. It's more complex. It looks like your piece is one of many, like one of a puzzle.
And Glader just kind of give like a knowing chuckle, and then bring it all over to the rest of the group. Renwick, Blade, and Locris, and kind of show them like, yeah, it's definitely the same type of runes. Do you know? We kind of deduced that these are possibly drow runes. Do you have any idea? Have you seen these before outside of this particular situation? Do you have any insight on where these came from?
Nah, I never seen a drow, but Amorphous is the one who gave us these symbols. Seems to summon a bit of bugbears, and sometimes they're fiendish companions, cave bears or cave-dwelling animals in general, but no drow.
All right.
This guy kind of looks distraught, and he pulls, a big swig off of his crystal decanter, and he has, this 1,000-yard stare, And then he kind of snaps to and like looks. He's like, "Oh shit. The last one was today." And like as he says that, you guys hear what appear like downstairs. It sounds like all of the windows open at once, like just a loud crash. And he kind of sits up and opens the door, and as he does, a tiefling walks in. She looks to be maybe like an employee of the restaurant or of the inn and tavern, this little like club that you guys are in, and you get a good look at her as she carries in this pie, and she is wearing like typical thieves guild armor, leather armor. She's not shy about hiding her daggers on her belt, nor that she's got like a lockpick thieves tools kit kind of sitting out in the open as well. And she comes into the room and opens the window and sets a pie on the windowsill. And she says, "Anything else, Tutu?" And he said, "No. Just go tend to the bar, please." And he kind of, she goes down the stairs. He leaves the door open and he looks, kind of gestures to you guys to look. And as you guys kind of peek down these stairs, you see that all of the windows in his shop are open. And on every windowsill, a fresh baked pie. And he says, "There's another one, and it's happening today." And he kind of walks back to his desk, sparks up a large like cigar, and puffs on it as he kind of stares out at this pie on his windowsill. He's like, "Fuck. I don't know what he's doing, but I know that when we do this, he sends a messenger. Well, a courier. Courier with worth his weight in gold, hauling his weight in gold, essentially. It's kind of been the foundation of my success here. Was taking a word from Amorphous. I didn't realize that he was so twisted. He seemed so charming, so elegant." He kind of looks perplexed. His brow kind of curls, and he's smoking on this cigar, lost in thought, staring at this pie. And it is about that time that you guys hear off in the distance the rattle of war horns, but not like the ones you heard in Ledlitten. These are elven war horns. This is like a trumpet, a very upbeat but very like loud kind of, and it is a warning signal for the city. And it kind of snaps him out of it, and he looks to you guys. He said, "Well, in my reckoning, the high elves will be here any minute. They pretty swiftly deal with this kind of shit. So if you don't want to get busted by the pigs, now's the time to go." And then he sits down at his desk and puts his feet back up on it.
Yeah, we should get back to the house anyway.
Don't have to tell me
Thanks.
twice.
Thanks for the information. May have a few more questions later. But don't worry. We're going to kill Amorphous.
Well, bring money, please.
And then Locris charges out.
As he kind of make your way out, you guys notice that the war horns, the elvish horns, have seemed to spur everyone in the immediate vicinity into action. People are very rushed, hurrying along. You see people slamming doors, closing windows. You know, it's a ordeal that is taken seriously. And as you guys make your way back to your family home, your mother is actively standing outside with near Logus, and she's like yelling at him, like, "Do you see them? Do you see them? Maybe you should go get them. Maybe you need to. My baby's in trouble. I can tell. This is something that is going on. I need your help, Logus. I need you to go get him. If all those stories are true, I mean, you shot the arrows into the dragon, right? You can find my kid. Go get him."
And then I'll get Tony and I'll Tony, find me the party, and fly overhead so I know where they're at. And I'll be like, "Oh, don't you worry, your heart, man. I'll go and look for them."
And
And so at this point, Logus, since he has the Nature's Mantle, which is a cloak, he's gonna pull the hood up a little bit to hide, to kind of not blend in, but like hide that he's an elf right now, and just kind of be inconspicuous and look for them, then try to find them, while kind of staying off the main road and following Tony.
it's not long. You're literally out of her sight for maybe 30 seconds, and you see the party coming down the street, walking at a brisk pace straight towards you.
I'll kind of be like, quickly this way, the high elves have come in. Your mother's worried, Locust.
Yes. Get them inside. There's trouble afoot, but it shouldn't get down to over here. We'll explain later.
And as such, you guys make your way. Your mother very worried but relieved to see you guys in tow. She kind of, I knew you'd do it, Logos. You're so that was so fast. She hurries you guys into her home, and Dardos, as you guys enter, bars the wooden door with this a large wooden plank and fastens shut all the windows. Says, well, only managed to burn a couple hours of the morning, but we might be stuck for a time. But don't worry, the Royal Guard is particularly effective. Should be over shortly. But damn, this is 4 times this week.
Before they shut everything, Logus wants to send Tony, to try to perch up on a tall building, so she can like maybe have a view of what's happening, just in case Logus wants to warg into her later.
Okay, yeah. Tony goes to find a spot to look out over the city proper. In the Tiari, she turns to you guys and it's like, "Oh my God, are you guys hurt? Are you guys okay? What's going on? Everybody's fine. What do you need?" She's like physically touching your guys' like chest and armor and like making sure like physically looking for holes or like wounds or something. Like she gives all of you a quick inspection. And she tosses one eyebrow up at Renwick's tentacle hand, but doesn't think anything of it. Inspects all the digits anyway, and kind of like moves on.
I think when he sees her notice that, he just goes, "Don't worry, pre-existing condition. But if you happen to have another cup of coffee, I am fucking exhausted."
Oh, absolutely, darling. And it's like you almost set her mind at ease by like making a request, like something simple that she could do for you guys. Showing some hospitality seems to like put her at ease, and she does make quite a strong batch of coffee for any who wish to partake.
Yeah, I think Renwick is kind of seeing a lot of his mother Sophia in Locris's mom, with his mom being like the person running the tavern and being like warm and welcoming and taking care of everybody. It's like he's kind of having that, like it's hitting home. It's comforting.
All right, Sean. Before we, can I retcon that? I was reading the spell and I have to touch Tony, so it would be useless. Can I retcon that I would have known that and just keep her on my side?
Yeah, for sure. You could. What spell are you casting on Tony again?
I was gonna use Bee Sense, which allows me to see through her eyes, but I was reading it right now and it says that I have to touch her before I was gonna do it, and I had said that I wanted her to go perch up. So I was asking if I can just retcon that I didn't send her out, since I would have known that.
Okay, yeah, she can be indoors with you or perched wherever you'd like.
Okay, cool.
Maybe in that case, Blade will, as like we're boarding up the doors, as we're just like putting the final board up, Blade will throw out Archie just like onto the porch or whatever, the front steps, and just kind of plop him outside. Krabby just like looking confused and just looking around.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So as Initiari goes about providing you guys with some coffee and some snacks and things, she does kind of find her way over to this fish that her husband prepared, and she begins kind of taking over, kind of pushing him out of the way, chopping it up into portions, and going about preparing like a decent afternoon midday meal for you guys. And as she does so, Dardros kind of sits down on nearby one of his like craft benches, and he looks to be kind of putting some things together. There's some, looks like he has several broken tools in like some kit of his, and he is slowly maintaining and repairing them all. And he says, sorry, don't got a lot for a lot of you to do, but I got a nip of whiskey in the shelf there if you prefer. I'm sure the elves will handle this in a bit. It'll be safe to walk again within the hour, I'm sure.
Well, let us help you, or let me help you with those tools. And then Lucas will go over and start casting mending on them.
Okay, as you cast mending on some of these tools, go ahead and give me like a perception check there, Locus or Locris.
Perception 18.
You notice that you do mend these tools back together, and your father's pretty stoked about it. Like, excellent, save me some resources. Puts away his leather bindings and his wood glue and things. But you notice that these tools are well used, even after being freshly mended. The grooves almost fit your father's hand from so much use on like hammers and chisels and various tools of his trade. And you notice that he's been maintaining these tools for a long time, and it's not the best set, but it's underneath all these tools that he's kind of putting back together. There's also like an elaborate set of blueprints for like a beautiful like archway. It looks like first of all, it was drawn by like a master artist, and secondly, it's like a very beautiful take on some of this like elvish architecture. It's very flowy, very pompous, very kind of bougie, but it looks to be like one of the projects your dad's working on.
Looks like you need some new tools there.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But the old ones, the new, I've had new ones here and there. It's the old ones just they swing better somehow. They fit better. They work in a little more efficiently. I can't tell you how or why, but I'd take my old hammer over a brand new one any day.
I think it's just that familiarity. What are these blueprints to?
He kind of he's a little sheepish about it, but he clears off some of the tools to show you more of the prints. Says, well, the captain, one of the captains of the guard, who is actually not a typical, we'll say, radical high elf. Somebody who will give us the time of day. Somebody who treats us with respect. He's a nice guy. Your friend met him. He points to Logos. He came by to tell me today. I submitted some paperwork for some architectural jobs, so some positions that I was interested in, trying to come up a little bit in life, increase my station a bit, but it made it far through the vetting process, which nobody thought because I'm not a high elf. But I made it to the very end. Made it to the last run. They didn't pick my work, but I beat out something like, I don't know, 1,000 high elven architects. Pretty good feeling. He smiles.
Well, Lord Velison there in Ledlitton, he's actually pro a lot of immortals. So maybe you could send him your design and he'll approve it for some project they have up there. And then the bards from the town can go out and spread your name.
Well, I don't know about that. I like the lake. Ledlitton doesn't have a lake.
I didn't say move up there. I said send him your plans.
He ponders it. Does he kind of thinks for a bit? He's like, well, I don't know. We'll see. It could be a pipe dream, but it's at least I was considered. It's an honor. At least they might try to look down on me, but they can't look down on my work. It's like it speaks for itself.
Well, Locris will stand up, kind of dusting himself off. We'll be right back. Don't worry. You won't like it. We got to go see what's going on outside.
Well, remain safe. Those are the warning horns. They're for our protection usually. Shelter in place and all that. But if you must, carry your blade and mind your manners out there.
And Locris will let the morning star slowly form into his hand. We'll be safe. And we'll be back.
Your mother kind of calls out to you in a tiara. Is like, I will be done making this meal within the hour. So you better be back here to eat. I'm not cooking for 10 of yous. You better hurry.
Hopefully this won't take long.
Since Locris is being flashy, Logis will pull out his crystal bow of fire and kind of just be flashy with them. And don't worry, we wouldn't miss a home cooked meal for the world. It's been ages since we've had a delicious meal made just for us.
She looks to you and smiles, and she says, good. If he's late, it's your fault. She points to you with a stern look.
This entire time, Glader has gone full doomsday prepper mode, and he pulled a chair up right and placed it right in front of their front door and just sat there with his blunderbuss facing the front door, just waiting. And he's yeah, no, we'll be back. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about your son. We'll take care of him, and honestly, he takes care of himself pretty well without us. So either way, he'll be fine.
Blade is going to kind of warg into Archie to see if he sees anything outside the door, anything suspicious.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, Archie's kind of climbing around the front porch area, kind of manages to get himself halfway in the Lavistian mailbox. It's like a stone port for mail. But as he's kind of looking around, there's nothing in the immediate vicinity, but he does note that it would appear that some district of the city looks like another part of the city's probably far-ish away. Not anything close, but he does note that there is black smoke arising from somewhere within the city.
Okay. Blade will kind of Warg on back and just say, it appears that there's some smoke. Like, it's hard to tell exactly where from in the city, but it seems to be some district. Seems to be some battle or fire or something. We should probably make our way.
Let's go. Try and stay out of sight. Maybe grab a pie on the way. And see if we can follow these bugbears to wherever they go with these prisoners.
While we're walking out, Logris, what's up, Logris? I was kind of eavesdropping when that elf captain was talking to your father. And when he noticed me, he seemed to take somewhat of an interest in me and started asking weird questions about if I had seen anything weird or come across bugbears specifically. I didn't know if he was distrusting of me or if he was trying to see what I knew, but it was a little weird. And he came in kind of incognito to see your father. It's like he wasn't supposed to be here.
Well, I can see that here in the town, the high elves are a little bit worse than other areas. So a high elf, especially officer, going through a ghettoized district into a house is going to look suspicious to both sides. And then seeing an elf inside the house of a tiefling, that'll draw suspicion as well. I'm sure there wasn't much meant to it. But
Well,
good luck.
I name dropped Lord Svelin. I keep forgetting his damn name. He seemed to not really believe me, but he said that he was going to send word to check our story. But just want to let you know it was a little off-putting. And then while we're walking, Logus would actually like to see if he can get some eyes on some of the bugbear footprints or tracks, since this will be like the third time he's come across their tracks.
Okay, yeah. As you guys kind of make your way across the city, trying not to be seen or heard, go ahead and give me like a group stealth check as you guys kind of make your way towards the smoke in the air.
You know what? Since it's been a hot minute and I'm feeling a little zesty, I'm gonna cast Pass Without a Trace on everyone. So go ahead and add a +10 to all that.
Oh, very nice.
Ooh. Said that's a +10 pass without a trace?
Yes. So it's your modifier and then +10.
Well, I rolled a 1. When I re-roll, I rolled a 2, but I have a +23. So 25.
Yeah, I rolled a 9. +9 is 18. +10 is 28.
And a 36 for Blade.
So I thought my dice were on fire tonight because I rolled a 17 again, but then I remembered I'm wearing plate armor and I have disadvantage on stealth checks. So I rolled a 2 +1 for a 3 +10 for 13.
I thought you had on that mithril elf armor that didn't impose disadvantage.
No, I did for a while, but then Locris and I made a trade, I think, at one point. I think that's what it was. Because I have just regular plate armor +1 now.
Yeah, I have the mithril half plate.
Yeah. Because this put my AC at a like 21 instead of a 19. So I took the disadvantage to stealth, which, in hindsight, we'll see.
No,
But I mean,
only you can get a +10 and still roll balls.
listen, if I didn't have disadvantage, it would have been great. That would have been a 28 stealth. But now it's a 13.
So as Gladier clinks down the alley alone, knowing that his friends are clinging to the darkness all around him, you guys make your way down this alley, and you do kind of set eyes on the situation. It looks like it is the end of the elves successfully repelling this wave of bugbears. As you kind of look on, you see the flash of elven steel and the cries of bugbears and them falling before this like well-oiled, very high-end kind of like military, like not only standpoints and different formations and things, but strategy for taking down these bugbears. The bugbears fight like wild animals, and they are not even close to being formidable enemies to these elves. Fuck, I almost had a heart attack trying to say that word. Well, yeah, so the elves are just kind of finishing them up. They're literally mopping up the survivors, that some strewn across the battlefield, trying to like claw their way out as the elves walk up and make a finishing blow. But yeah, from the shadows, from the darkness, you guys kind of look on and see the elves just absolutely cleaning house.
Are we able to see any bugbears like running away?
Go ahead and give me, I think we'll call it a perception check for now.
16.
You don't see any bugbears like running away. You see a lot of like smashed in windows and doors, and you see a lot of curious citizens of the varied fantasy races kind of poking their heads out and looking around. This is definitely not in like the high elven architecture type of area, but it is in like what would be considered at least a nice neighborhood, one of the higher end communities.
Damn. Logus, are you able to find creature or monster?
Do we still have that time thing? The hourglass?
Blade pulls it out and kind of holds it.
Yeah. Make sure you set that for an hour, because Logris's mother seemed to be very serious about us making dinner. Logris, what did you ask again? What did you need from me?
Blade
Do you
will
have a way we can? Do you have a way for us to track these bugbears? Since I can't seem to see them anywhere.
And I can track pretty much anything. If you're talking by magical means, not really. I can try to find a person, but I don't know if that works for monsters. I can try the old-fashioned way.
Well, do we give up, or are we going to try chasing them?
Well, what makes me nervous, Locris, is that if we do chase them, we might miss your mother's dinner. I'd feel really bad if she put on that big old spread and we didn't show it.
I mean, he's got a point, and Blade and I haven't slept in 2 days, so I'm probably not in the best shape to be tracking something down for a fight.
And Blade will be like, "We've got 59 minutes and 15 seconds."
Oh, I'm sure it's a little bit less than that, but all right, we'll head back.
I mean, if you'd like, I can scout forward a little bit and see if I see anything.
Well, no, the whole purpose was we know how they get here. How do they leave?
Why don't you, see through your sweet little hawk's eyes, have it fly up, and see if it can, see what direction the bugbears are traveling in. I mean, we'll take care of you while you're, blind, deaf, and dumb.
Okay. Luggers will find like a little like a nook or like a little place to sit, or just kind of crisscross applesauce it, and grab Tony and all right, little love. Um, he'll cast speak with animals too, so she knows. Um, I'm gonna send you up. I'm gonna be looking through your eyes. I can talk to you through this. So we're gonna need to find where these bad creatures are going. Okay, make sure you stay high and out of sight. Um, and I'll be with you. And I'll cast Beast Sense on her. And so Logos's eyes go white, and he can see through Tony's eyes and have her set off into the sky.
As you set Tony off into the sky and she heads in the direction of this battlefield, go ahead and give me a perception check. I'll say perception or survival as you're kind of tracking at this point.
I would do perception because her perception is pretty good, and she has advantage on perception because she has keen sight. The first one is a natural 20 plus 4. Second is an 8. So I will take that natural 20 plus 4 for a total of 24.
Okay, so she circles the battlefield, and it's looks like an area of Main Street in this like community was thoroughly attacked. You see lots of broken windows and kicked in doors, and as she's kind of floating around looking at the carnage, she picks up their tracks and she follows them as she kind of glides to the outskirts of the city. Silurin kind of being in the forest, it's only, once she gets to the edge of the city, nature kind of overtakes, and it is not far. She's maybe 100 yards outside of the city, where the forest is growing naturally as it should. She perches up on a branch on the outskirts of the city, and she looks, and you see all of these footprints, many bugbear footprints, and it looks to be something drug through the underbrush, something heavy, sacks perhaps, and you're kind of looking at this trail, and it leads to a big black circle of scorched earth. It looks like it's still smoking. It looks like a large circle was lit ablaze in the middle of the forest, not far from the city walls.
So Logos would kind of like talk to. Let me make sure. Let me see if I can even talk to her. It just says for the duration of your spell, you can use your action to see through the beast's eyes and hear what it hears. Continue to do so. Well, I guess since I can't talk to her, I feel like Tony would have. I guess what she usually does and just kind of perch on a tree somewhere and just kind of watch. Because I don't want her to keep flying around and get noticed or act weird. And just kind of like perch off to the side a little bit, and so I can just keep on watching.
Okay, yeah. She kind of posts up and kind of scouts for you in and around the area. Nothing in particular. You do notice that the high elves, this like the Elven Royal Guard, quickly follow the tracks to this like black circle of scorched earth, and they identify it and call it in rather. But aside from the high elves arriving to the scene, nothing stands out particularly. As as Logos is kind of searching through his bird at the moment. What are you guys doing in this alley? Currently, you guys are super stealthy. We'll lump Gladier in there with you guys. He didn't absolutely fail.
I figure we're just waiting for Logos to tell us what he all saw.
Oh yeah, and
All
after
right, well.
after a few minutes, he kind of comes to as well.
Well, I can talk. I just can't see or hear. So I'd imagine Logus is kind of like just whispering as he sees what Tony sees, just like kind of letting him know um, what he sees. That way, you don't have to explain it when he comes back.
All right, well, it seems like there's nothing to follow, so dinner it is.
That's
And he'll
kind of a
give
bad
Logos a
idea.
shove.
I can't really hear the volume of my voice since I'm blind and deaf, so I could be yelling for all I know.
Vader spent the entire time balancing pebbles on top of Logus's head. Like, those little rock tower things that people build when they go on hikes in national parks. I just do that on top of Logus's head.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand check. How many do you think you get on there?
All right. Ooh. Oh, that's a 5.
You managed to get like one on there. You can't quite get the stack right, but you place one firmly on his forehead or on the top of his head.
All right. Good enough. That one pebble is going to fall off when he stands up, and it's going to confuse him. That's all I want.
Logos will give him a shove to knock him out of his trance. Say, all right, we're headed back to the house.
Logus will kind of like start walking back, but kind of like linger a little bit so he can see Tony again. Make sure she's okay.
Yeah, she flies back to you after a time. She takes a wide route, but stretching her wings mostly. But she makes her way back to you as you guys kind of make your way back to Locris's family adobe. As you guys kind of come in, the Locris's mother exhales a sigh of relief, and his father just kind of nods at you all. Hello, welcome back. Find what you needed to out there, huh? He kind of looks at you with his eyebrows raised.
More or less.
We learned something at least.
You don't even work with.
Good. Well, it smells like it's getting close. And he kind of looks over to Inatiari, and she is currently serving up several plates of rice and this very lemony, herby kind of covered fish fillet. It looks well prepared, and it comes even with a side of some steamed potatoes and a boiled egg. This is like the smorgasbord plethora for somebody of Locris's family's kind of modest income, but nonetheless, there's more than plenty to go around. And Inatiaria, she makes sure not only that everybody gets a plate, but she's kind of pulling the mom move where she's telling you finish your plate, you get seconds. She's peer pressuring you guys to get some seconds, and she manages to accompany the meal with some baked rolls, and she pours you guys not only some strong coffee, but she sets out the wine, and even through Dardos's protest, she also sets out his bottle of high-end whiskey, and she's doing everything she can to kind of make you guys comfortable. And she's just kind of running around catering the situation, and Dardos wastes no time. He's just shoveling piles of fish and rice into his face as he's like, "Oh, delicious, thank you." Oh. And she's kind of going about doing her thing.
Renwick is just housing this. This is home cooked seafood. This is home to him.
Same.
especially living on the coast. I think when she mentioned seconds, like he just crushes that plate and immediately gets up and it's just like, I have to say, your hospitality reminds me greatly of my mother, and I haven't had a meal this pleasant in ages. And just like loads up another huge plate.
She smiles and says, "Oh, thank you." As she gives you, she's like helping to serve, and she makes sure to put an extra hearty helping of both fish and rice on your next serving.
Yeah, same for Glader. Like for the past, not counting the past 2 months, he lived in the desert for the past like 5 years. So it's probably been about 5 years and 2 months since he's had like good seafood. So he's just fucking like seconds and thirds. Um, Also like helping himself to the whiskey, but then kind of sees Locris's dad's trepidation, and he like sneakily like under the table just like hands him a gold piece or like two gold pieces and just be like, we appreciate the hospitality, but why don't you get yourself another fine bottle of whiskey after we're gone?
He pushes the gold piece away but as Initiaria is distracted with Renwick's polite compliments, he slides you his glass rather, and kind of like under the table, like, how about you just top me off, seeming as like to avoid confrontation with the missus on maybe drinking a bit too much.
Glader absolutely tops him off and then goes back to his food.
He sips on his whiskey and he's kind of enjoying his meal. What's up, Logos?
Logos would have. Do y'all mind if I break off a little piece and feed it to my bird here? I mean, he's like my best friend, but I don't want to offend anyone.
Oh, absolutely. We got some birds too. And Inatari kind of throws open the back window. And as she does, she throws out some chicken scratch. And you hear a pile of birds kind of flutter and coo out back. She's like, well, good for eggs. Keep them around, They eat breadcrumbs and bugs. Pretty self-reliant little creatures. And she looks at her chickens fondly.
Logos would have on his first plate, like maybe half the fish he had, since Tony's a good girl. He would have like put in her talon and like let her fly off so she can enjoy her meal. And then seeing the the interaction between Gladiator and Logris's dad. Well, maybe I have something that maybe you haven't tried before. And Logos will reach into his bag and pull out that water skin full of that old long lost wine that was like supposedly super delicious. And I'm gonna offer some to Logris's dad, and I'll be willing to bet you haven't tried something like that before. And I'll offer him some.
He takes your wineskin and takes a big sip off of it, and you see his eyes kind of like go wide, and he like licks his lips and like, oh, wow, flavor, whoa. Where'd you get that? That's he takes another big swig off of it, and Initiaria kind of clears her throat, and he's like, oh, and he kind of withdraws from the wineskin and hands it back to you. Ah, delicious. Where did you get that? What vintage is that? That's some high elven something. I don't know.
Well, believe it or not, we actually pulled it from a room full of mimics in a dungeon that some gnomes asked us to clear out. Uh, Actually, Logris and I and the group here, we actually fought some death knights there, Beholden, and Logris will kind of get into the story of the dungeon and finding this wine as everyone's kind of eating and drinking.
Renwick will reach his hand into the bag of holding and be like, it's funny. We actually have a tendency to acquire really nice wine as we travel around. I actually don't remember where we got this. I think it was when we were overthrowing the queen. And he pulls out the bottle of top shelf wine that we've had 3 bottles just floating around forever. So I'll just leave one on the table for as a thank you gift.
Locris's mom has to once again get after Dardos as he tries to do it stealthily, but the cork pops loudly, and he manages to get a swig or two before she clears her throat at him. He's like, "Oh, sorry, dear," and he sets it down. And but he is kind of, even though he's got a dark blue skin complexion, you swear he's getting a little red in the face.
I need to wait till 12 to tell my baby happy birthday.
Yeah, so Logan sort of, filled up the cups with his wine. Not really worried about it. Just kind of, this seems like a nice opportunity to waste it. Being very generous with it and eating and just telling stories of our adventures. Kind of digging into Logris a little bit.
And as this kind of goes down, you guys hear through the open window where Inatari's chickens are on the other side. You hear like the hustle and bustle of the city kind of come back to life. You hear people hitting the streets again. You hear the people hooting and hollering and going about their day. As it is roughly probably late afternoon, 2 p.m. ish at this point. And the city comes back to life after briefly kind of shutting down for fear of this kind of attack or whatever. The fear seems to be over. The city kind of goes back to its natural hustle and bustle. Go ahead and give me, let's go ahead and get a group perception check.
Dirty 20 for Logus.
It's 17.
10.
Perception 13.
16 for Blade.
Logus, I think you might be the only one who got it there. No surprise. As you're kind of listening to the hustle and bustle of the city, Logos, you catch something a bit off. You catch the uniform clinking, almost like a march of armor. You get the distinct sense that many of the royal guard are marching into and around the district, and you hear a lot of people kind of calling out things along the lines of any information for reward for any information leading to the capture or conviction of anyone involved in conspiracies against the crown. And you kind of glance out the window, and you do see this tiefling district seems to be filled with guards that are now like questioning passerbyers and trying to putting up flyers and things. It looks like for one reason or another the royal guard has moved in mass to a district that they previously just haven't given a lot of fucks about. So it's kind of off seeing all of these royal guards here in the streets all of a sudden.
Anybody noticing the high volume of guards all of a sudden? It's kind of giving some Hordenshire vibes when we were fugitives at large. They seem to be asking if anybody knows of any conspiracy against the crown. It's a little weird, right?
No, something happens. This is the area they first blame. Just keep your doors closed and windows and heads in the window.
Oh, hey, Sean, I never asked. Before I was woken up by the captain, was I able to get my full to get rid of the exhaustion?
Let's see. It would. I don't think they were quite gone 4 hours. I think it probably interrupted your sleep.
So would I have to finish the sleep, or at this point it's been too much and I'd have to just restart the whole rest?
I'd say if you hit the hay relatively soon, you could probably just complete it with a couple more hours. But if you push past, another like 8 hour period, you'd probably have to just do it over.
I don't know why this whole time I thought it was like we were at nighttime.
It's like mid afternoon. You guys arrived at like dawn.
Well, look, Chris, what's the plan? I mean, I know Renwick and Blade are pretty exhausted. I didn't quite get to finish my rest as well. Do we take our sleeps now and maybe do some late night stuff, or are we got business right now?
As far as I know, we got nothing going on at least until the morning. But we have to figure out a plan. I may need to talk to Tutu again. Because if we can't even get into the academy without royal approval, and only person I know where they are is the prince, and he's staying very well locked up. Gotta figure out whether we go down to the academy and try and break in, or go begging to a prince that's an asshole.
Well, either way, we couldn't possibly do any of that with three out of the five of us exhausted. If you'd like, I can try to get Tony to go try to find out exactly what the kerfuffle is out there. Or we can just stay put and try to listen in.
Well, I said we wouldn't be going anywhere till the morning. So yeah, don't worry. No, everybody's getting their rest. We don't need to talk to the guards. We don't know anything. We just got to town this morning.
Well, I could either go into Tony, we wouldn't have to leave the house, or if we want to get a little more in depth, I could turn into a cat or a dog or something and maybe get a closer look out there.
If you want, I assume they're just going kind of door to door, talking to the usual suspects about what they may have seen.
When we were walking in, what I know Logus probably would have. What kind of animals are like common in this area that would be like wouldn't stick out?
All kinds. I mean, you're in the middle of this great forest, so it's not uncommon to see cats, dogs, raccoons, birds of various, species and sizes, all kinds of rodents, rabbits, squirrels, all kinds.
So Logus would probably turn to the party. I don't know, just have a little bit of a bad feeling. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to see what's going on. And Logus is gonna wild shape into. Um, does this town have like dogs and cats and stuff? Kind of walk the street.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of high elves in this area, have familiars that are various animals. So it's not uncommon to see, and somebody, any kind of caster really, walking with, a pet squirrel in their pockets, or sometimes as exuberant as like a large bear or like jaguar companion. Animals are abundant here, and they're pretty much overlooked.
So I guess Logus would have probably just turned to like an alley cat. Something that won't stick out, kind of small and non-conspicuous, and jump out the window and kind of just meander around, and just listening to what's going on, and maybe walking the alleys, climbing on some roofs, and doing cat shit while trying to, listen to what's going on.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check as you kind of make your way around the neighborhood.
That is a 13 plus. It would be the cat's things, right? Or would it, since I'm a druid, would it be mine?
I think you get the physical features of the cat, but features like your intelligence and wisdom remain yours. So I would say it's still probably yours, whichever is higher, really.
Well, that's the case. Then that would be a 13 plus 12 for 25.
You come across, several of these soldiers are just kind of handing out flowers and making flyers, and they're making proclamations about, reward for any information leading to the capture of any yada yada yada. It's going off about like the recent attacks and things, and as they're kind of holding up these reward posters and talking to people, you notice that they are, for the most part, getting the cold shoulder. Nobody willingly talks to them here. All of the tieflings have their eyes down and refuse to interact or communicate with these guards. They avoid them at like almost all costs, crossing the streets and not making eye contact. It is they seem very turned off by them, very in some cases kind of scared. And as you're kind of walking about, you make your way down one of these long dark alleys, and you see a couple of these guards actually shake down a couple of these tieflings. The tieflings that are engaging with them, they're like, the guards are kind of giving them the business. What do you know? How do you know that you're getting some reliable intel, and tell us everything you got? They're shaking them down, and they get kind of physical. They like throw the tieflings to the ground, and they're not out in the open. They're in like this dark alley kind of way, and the elves are giving them the business. How come whenever the bugbears make a raid, it's never got anything to do with this little tiefling shithole neighborhood, huh? They've hit every fucking way they can trying to get into our city, but your fucking neighborhoods seem to be awful safe, don't they? And the other guard kind of picks up by tossing yet another one of these tieflings to the ground and giving him a good boot to the gut. And boom! And tells him, if you know anything, you need to spill your guts now, or I might just haul you in for stealing. And the guy's like, but I didn't steal nothing. And the one of the guards pulls a bunch of coins out and throws it on the ground at his feet. And about this time, you see a familiar scene, Logos. It looks like a hunched over like little old lady or something, but they're wearing like this gray cloak that hides most of their features. And as she slowly makes her way down this alleyway, the guards get more indignant, and tell her, "Piss off, Granny, or you're next." And this cloak comes off just so quick, and you see in front of you the captain that was speaking with Dardos earlier, and he completely goes unhinged on these soldiers. He's like, "You treat them this way, and then expect them what? To be happy about it? That they're going to cooperate and communicate and be citizens of worth to you? That they will hold you in some sort of higher aspect or something? What the hell are you doing, soldier?" And they immediately help the tieflings to their feet and "Oh, sorry, sir. We what? You didn't know I was in the alley with you? You're going to be reprimanded. There's no way. You're not going to harass these people on my watch. I don't care what your personal beliefs are. We're here to do a job, and it's not terrorize helpless locals." And he kind of like scowls at these two, and they salute. He says, "You're dismissed. I'll see you both at the barracks." And they kind of scoff and scowl, but they take off. And the captain turns to these tieflings who shy away from him. And I'm sorry. I know life isn't the easiest here, but they mean well. Truly. They're looking out for... Well, they're trying, I guess. Not really that hard, but I mean... Anything I can do for you? And he kind of leans his hand out and helps these two tieflings to their feet. They dust themselves off, and then they are pretty locked up. They don't want to have anything to do with him. Once he reveals he's in uniform, they keep their eyes cast down, and they, no, sir, thank you. And they both flee. And he watches them go, and looks disheveled, kind of gives a sideways glance at a peculiar looking cat that has watched this whole thing go down from down the alley, and he shakes his head and picks up his cloak and heads off in another direction.
Logus probably would have kept the distance, but just kind of follow him a little bit. Just to see, what he does. Does he go back to disguising himself, or does he let himself be known now?
He throws the cloak back on, but doesn't like pull his hood up or assume like this hunched kind of like old lady kind of form like he was doing before. He marches out into like the common areas of the streets, and you see that the local guards kind of adhere to him. They salute him on their way by, and they some of them show up with reports and things. And one that kind of stands out is an elven guard kind of runs up to him and says, "Well, sir, I hate to ring this bell again, but Tutu's not going to let us in. He's threatening violence." And you see the captain kind of nose scrunches, and he puts his hand up to his forehead like, "God damn it, I don't need this. All right, I will handle Tutu. Tell the men to stand down." And he marches in the direction of the club where the party was kind of hanging out earlier.
Logus will keep his distance, but keep acting like a cat. Maybe try to be stealthy a little bit, but keep following him.
Okay, go ahead and give me a stealth check as you follow him. This would be a physical feature, so you'll have to use the cat's physics for stealth.
Okay, well, this dice is super hot. That is a 18 on the die. Imagine a cat's pretty stealthy. There's my damn. +4, so 22.
Very nice. As you kind of silently make your way behind this individual, he makes his way to this club. This looks like a one of the nicer buildings in the district. In fact, it's like the only nice building in the whole district. The Twin Horn gambling club is kind of surrounded. It looks like all the windows have been boarded up from the inside, and this large kind of iron door is slammed shut, but it has one of those like sliders to kind of like check and see who's knocking. And as the captain arrives, he gives a couple hand signals, and the guards all back off, and he pounds on the door, and the slider opens. He says, "What do you want? I already told them. They're not, any of them are coming in." And he says, "Tell Tutu, please, I apologize for the rashness of my tone of voice, but please tell Tutu that I am here to negotiate peaceful solutions. I don't know what his problem is, but if he's harboring someone or something that is leading to these attacks, we have to know. And this is makes him look real shady. So he can either let us in and let us talk, or we're going to have to force our way in. Now, only one of these has the possibility of everyone in that building not going to the dungeons tonight. So, please fetch Tutu, and let's have a bit of a talk. I don't want this to get out of hand. Tell him Captain Loreless is here to negotiate. And he slams the person on the inside of the thing, slams it shut, and a bit of a muffled conversation happens, and the door opens just a crack, and he says, "Just you." He says, "Of course." And he puts his hands up as if to show that he's unarmed, though he does have a blade at his belt. And he quickly slips inside of this iron door, and they shut it quickly behind him.
Can Logus walk like the perimeter of the building? Is there any opening of any kind to get inside? Even smaller if he had to shape into something else.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Ooh, that's a 6, I think, 5.
So as you kind of make your way around the building, you do notice that while it does have a lot of windows and balconies and things that look kind of inviting, it looks like the entire building has been boarded up from the inside. Like, it looks like specifically all of the entrances and exits to this building have been recently boarded up. So looks like it's pretty tight.
All right. If Logus can't find any way in, then at this point, he'll probably head back to the party.
Okay, you head back across town to the family residence of Locris, and it's probably it's late afternoon, probably 2-3 in the afternoon at this point, and you come upon Dardros packing some tobacco into a pipe as he excuses himself. He opens the door as you kind of walk in as a cat, and he sits down on this porch and begins puffing on a pipe. And as the party kind of reconvenes, and Inatari is kind of picking up after the remnants of this midday meal. She offers you guys, some warm blankets and things, but aside from that and maybe a bit of wine, she seems to be winding down a bit herself, getting back to her duties as a seamstress. She has a bunch of blankets and several, different gowns and things that she's stitching together and taking measurements on and things for people in the community. And Dardros just kind of sits outside and puffs upon his pipe. But so how does the party kind of proceed from here?
Logus will probably jump on the chair or something, start licking himself as a cat, like full on, just cleaning himself, getting all up in there and shit.
Lucas would go outside with his dad and kind of catch up over the past 3 years with the small odds and ends and details that we don't need to role play.
Yeah, you guys kind of catch up as he puffs his pipe. You guys inside kind of hear a chuckle shared between father and son outside occasionally. And what's the rest of the party doing?
We're just spending the night in, I imagine. After a brief break, Renwick kind of sneaks back into the kitchen looking for thirds before he inevitably goes and passes out.
Inatari definitely slides you, some bits of bread and some dried fish.
Before everyone goes to bed, Logus will actually, Locus, I do have something to tell you if you want to come back in real quick. And then he'll kind of tell him what he saw. The captain that was in here with your father is actually meeting with Tutu at the club right now. It seems to be a standoff of some sort. I heard that Tutu was threatening violence. Captain went in alone and unarmed, and I couldn't find a way into the building, so I don't know what's happening. But the elves did have the club surrounded. Seems to be some sort of a standoff going on over there right now.
Well, at least it doesn't seem like they're working together. Give me something to think about.
Uh, I don't know. He said Captain Lorelast was here and they weren't letting anyone else in, and then he comes in and they let him in. Ah, this captain, he's just about being inconspicuous and being very sneaky, and then they let him in. Might be my distrust talking here, but it is a little weird. I mean, he did stand up for some, I'll tell him, he did stand up for some tieflings in the alleyway, but
Honestly, that might be the only connection. You have a high elf who cares about the tieflings and a supposed leader of the tieflings. Gotta have some sort of a working relationship. And you did say he did threaten to basically bust down his door if you didn't let him in, so.
I kind of get the impression from this captain that he might actually be one of the good ones, and he just knows that the rest of this area, they all respect Tutu. So if he can, do his dealings with him directly, it'll filter down to the tieflings, and if he can get his guards in line, then they can stop this from getting uglier than it already has been. I think he's just going, straight to the top in terms of the people.
oh, you got a good vibe off of Captain Lorelast, Renwick. Gladio, who was the one that got us talking to Teddy in the first place? I can't remember.
Now, we've all made mistakes. But to be fair, we've been incredibly paranoid since Teddy, and this is the first time that I don't necessarily get bad vibes. And I mean, it's not like he knew you were watching when he saved that tiefling. He didn't have to do that. He could have just let his guards run fucking rampant. So,
Yeah, in
even when
Renwick's
eyes aren't on him, he's doing all right.
yeah, in Renwick's defense, he had met Teddy that day and had zero other interactions. This is based off his actions while he's been out and about, so it is a different judge.
Well, if y'all don't think it's something that we should check out right now, then I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed then. And then Locus will kind of thank Ish. How you say her name? Ishtari. Locus Ishtari, for breakfast or for dinner, and um, head off to bed.
Renwick just goes, "Oh yeah, I think it's best to sleep on this," and then he grabs another roll on top of all the food he's already carrying, just stuffs it in his mouth, and waddles off to his room.
I could see Blade maybe have gone to bed before everyone else. He's pretty exhausted and maybe brought Archie up with him, put him on a bedside table or stand or something, and just trying to fall asleep and just kind of oh, it's too bright in here, and kind of tapping Archie to kind of almost like he's a night light, just kind of no, dim down a little bit. I can't sleep like this.
Archie does dim at your request. As you guys kind of get settled for, it's now just becoming dusk, but with a long day of travel behind you and an eventful kind of day, You guys are settling down and whatnot. Dardros kind of takes points and makes. He takes all of your guys' livestock, all of these donkeys and mares and Gibraltar and Gigabraltar, and he ties them up out kind of behind his house. It's got a bit of green pasture. It's not like a fenced yard or anything, but he does what he can. Puts your animals with his, essentially, a handful of chickens and an old donkey as well. But yeah, he kind of takes it upon himself since you guys are very beat at the time. And yeah, aside from that, in a tiara. Shit, how do you say that? I wrote it down a bunch. In a tiara, she goes around and makes sure you guys are comfortable. You know, she's like almost like tucks you in like a mom. You know, she walks up on you and tosses an extra like buckskin blanket on top of you and silently kind of exits the room. And as she's makes her way back to Dardros, she's like, I don't know about that little one. He ate about as much as the big lizard one. That's an appetite. And Inataria and Dardros just kind of share a glass of wine and talk quietly amongst themselves in the kitchen. Is there anything in particular you guys need to do before claiming your long rest?
Nope, I think Lokers should just kind of lay there, staring up at the ceiling, just, you know, taking it in like you do.
Oh, Logus probably would have 100% like just gotten comfortable and passed out.
Renwick would have finished his third plate of food, and I think laid out his trident like he was going to do his normal meditations, and just like nodded off, fell asleep on the floor.
Okay, yeah. The crackle of the fire kind of takes over. It's the only sound in the house, and a bit of this juniper smelling like incense kind of burns. Dardros and his wife kind of just take the time to drink some wine and gossip a bit. They kind of from the general eavesdropping, you guys can kind of tell that they're pretty excited to have company. Pretty excited to have their son back, but also giving them this like the ability to host is not something that happens very often, and they're very happy to accommodate. And with that, you guys all find a peaceful night's rest and awaken in the morning to the crackling, sizzling sound of bacon and the smell of fresh baked biscuits and the crow of the rooster as the door slowly slams shut and Dardros sits upon the porch smoking a pipe in the early morning hours. And Inatari is cooking breakfast for everyone, and she greets you warmly as you guys kind of stir. Oh, hello, good morning, happy to see you. And as you guys kind of groggily emerge from your slumber, you are handed a hefty plate of bacon, eggs, and potatoes, as she won't take no for an answer and insists everybody takes at least one plate. And her husband kind of looks in from the window as he's smoking his pipe, and he calls in like, "Don't try fighting her, boys. I've already wrestled 2 plates down myself. You do your part now." And he kind of turns out and continues like watching the morning traffic.
Can I actually try? Since Logus only needs 4 hours, and he probably would have woken up in the middle of the night while everyone's asleep. Um, he would have wanted to like kind of walk outside and gotten the vibe of the town while everyone was asleep.
Oh, you wanted to kind of get like some vibes from the town in the middle of the night.
Yes, since he only needs 4 hours, he probably would have been up way before everyone else. Um, and he probably would have walked around the town a little bit, kind of keeping to the shadows. One, seeing if the guards are still around, and two, kind of maybe making his way to the club eventually.
Okay, so when you so you want to, I'm assuming you're gonna stick to like the tiefling like district as you kind of like walk about then.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just stick to where I know, and um, I want this. Is the club? I want mainly wanted to make my way to see if the club was active, um, or what was going on. And since it's the middle of the night, Logan sort of put his nature's mantle on his hood and 100% stick to the shadows to get the full benefit of his Gloomstalker's abilities.
Okay, yeah, give me a stealth check as you make your way towards the club.
That is a 16 plus 8. No, no, no. Where the hell's my stealth at? Plus 9 for 25.
Okay, so you're pretty one with the shadows as you make your way towards this tavern, and you make your way over, and it looks like all of the windows look to be unboarded. It looks much more hospitable than when you had seen it, only hours before. And as you kind of look around, kind of gauging the scene, go ahead and give me a perception check.
It's only a 19 total.
With that, you don't see any guards. They don't appear to be anywhere, and the club, there's lights on inside. Doesn't seem to be too active, but there is a spell of music, and you do hear the occasional like cheer or boo as a handful of patrons either win or lose their coin. But for the most part, it's pretty peaceful. Pretty seems pretty in the normal.
So Logan sort of walked up to the door and took off his hood to kind of be in, not being weird. And he would have wanted to walk in like he's any other patron. Just kind of look around while he's in there. Just kind of not being weird about it, just kind of walking in like he's there for the beer and, just like gazing around while he's in there.
Okay, go ahead and as you kind of enter, go ahead and give me your call, a perception or an insight check.
Perception, that is a 4 on the die, but 16 total.
Okay, you walk in and you look about and you see several faces kind of glance your way and they give you a raised eyebrow, but aside from that, they go back to their business. As you kind of walk in and approach the bar, the bartender makes his way over to you, kind of cocks an eyebrow and says, "Yes, could I help you?"
Um, yes, I was actually wondering if I could buy one of your finest bottles of whiskey.
From me, huh? All right, go. He kind of looks at you kind of suspiciously. He opens a little wooden shelf behind the bar. He gives you a choice. He's got 3 or 4 decent top shelf whiskeys. Your choice. Got any preference? You want something like smoky? You want something stronger? Maybe something with a in an aged barrel of some sort. You tell me. What? How do you like your whiskey?
So specifically, I'm trying to get something that I think Logris's dad would have liked. So I'll try to remember back to the bottle that he was passing around, um, and get something similar.
You find the exact same bottle and brand as a lot of the local distilleries kind of, do business locally, obviously. But yeah, it is the exact same brand as the one you guys were partaking of earlier in the day. And he pulls it down and sets it down and says, well, 65 gold for the bottle.
Yeah, no problem. Logos will hand over the 65 gold. Um, and Can I do that insight check on the room now? Just kind of looking around.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead and give me an insight check.
That's a 12 plus 8 for a dirty 20.
Logus, you realize it kind of at the last second. Like, they're being cordial to you, but, like, uh, while some people are trying not to make it obvious that they're staring, some of them are a little inebriated and don't have that kind of sense of awareness. And they're just, like, staring at you with a very, like, what the fuck? And you get a distinct impression. Not many elves, high elves, or wood elves make their way into this establishment. Doesn't you are out of place for sure.
Um, so Logos will kind of like, you know, are all the top end bottles the same
Uh,
price?
oh yeah, price. No, they're very different, but yeah, they're all the same price. Stranger, you're not from around here, are you?
Is it that obvious? Logos will kind of
Yeah,
chuckle.
yeah, it's pretty obvious, there, friend. Well, you interested in another bottle?
Well, trying to buy something for a friend, and I'm not too sure what's good around here. I'm actually from Nightwood, traveling here with some friends. One of my closest friends is a tiefling, and his family's here, and I'm just trying to get acclimated to the area. I get the sense that elves aren't too liked around here, and it's unfortunate for us wood elves. We kind of get roped in with the bad ones.
Yeah, you guys kind of look alike, but from maybe not from the tiefling point of view. You know, you tend to see people different when you have horns and very random colored skin tones throughout your people. You know, but yeah, wood elf, high elf, well, money all spends the same. Just keep a tight grip on your coin purse around these parts, there, friend. Lots of people like to help themselves to pockets of an elf around the. Yeah, be careful. Wouldn't flash that
Oh,
too much.
I appreciate the warning. I pity of the fool whoever tries to do that. But um, yeah, I'm always looking to part with coin. But I mean, don't take me for a pushover, though. Um, I'm actually interested in your other bottles. I mean, in your professional opinion, what bottle do you consider would be the best as a gift? I know this one here was the one he had. Would you consider this to be a lesser than the others, or is this as good as it gets?
Give me a persuasion check.
That is a straight roll for a 13.
Says, I mean, I'm not a whiskey guy really, but yeah, this seems to be a popular bottle around town. Some of the older gents like it. A lot of halflings seem to be into it too, for whatever reason. But yeah, it's a decent, top shelf whiskey. Can't recommend anything better, really, unless you want a good vodka, maybe a good burning tequila. We could figure it out.
Uh, seeing as this was the one he had, I think it's best to be safe. But I appreciate your help, friend. Thanks for entertaining me. I know that you people around here don't really have patience from us, but appreciate you talking to me for a little bit. And Logus will, put down this 65, put maybe like uh, you know, what? Logus will just put down 10 platinum for 100 gold. Uh, here's a little tip for you there for being kind. And he'll put his coin purse when he's done, and he'll kind of hold on to it, and put it in his pants like they usually do, like right around his other coin purse. Um, give the bartender a nod and make his way back to the house.
Okay, as you make your way out through the streets and things, it's a pretty normal, cool, warm evening. Nothing too out of place as you make your way swiftly back to the Locris's family home.
Uh, yeah, Logus will leave. Put the we'll take the bottle up to his room and um, just finish the night there until we get back to breakfast.
Okay, and as you guys you kind of stir in the morning, and Inatari is just kind of handing you off many different plates of food and things. It is quite early, crow of the rooster and things. Dardros finishes his pipe and comes in on all of you guys kind of eating breakfast, and he kind of gives you a bit of a nod, Locris, as he makes his way over for a second cup of coffee. Says, "So, what are you guys planning from here? Where does your ventures take you?"
Well, we gotta find a way into the academy. Been told that that's the way to get down into the Underdark, which is where we need to go. So that's our next step, is to figure out how to get in there.
Interesting. Well, if there's anything we could do to help. And your Inatari kind of steps up. She's like, "Are you sure you don't just want to come stay here? And there's plenty of fishing jobs at the dock, and we'll live all right. It's not glorious, but it's honest and it's safe, Locris. It's safe. Are you sure you don't want to stay?"
I mean, she's got a point as he's like chowing down on his breakfast. Like, you keep feeding me like this, and like I'm never gonna want to leave.
Safe's not for me. It's honestly, being out in the world, it's been the best thing to happen. I was miserable. Felt like nobody wanted to fight for their life. That's what I'm out there doing. I'm fighting for my life.
Well, times were harder back then. They're not exactly great now, but we've turned a few years. There's a lord and lady or two that are sympathetic to our cause, and even the captain of the guard, Captain Lorless. He's a good one. He looks out for us. It's only a matter of time. We just got to keep our chin up. Nothing good comes easy.
No, it doesn't. But right now, there's somebody out there that's making it harder for a lot of other people. And I can't sit by and just keep watching that happen. Unfortunately, I'm not like you two. I'm not a defensive, just roll with the punches. I'm a, that sucked, I'm going to hit back harder. But it's been working. It pays. And little Chris will pull out 10 platinum and set it down on the counter. That's not even a lot of what I've been able to do out there. But it's a lot for you guys.
Your dad swallows and like chokes hard. He's like, would you? Not a lot. That's more money than I'll make in a year. Good. I mean, well done. He kind of pats you on the shoulder. All right. Great job.
I mean, I get it. I know it's not easy, but yeah, I feel like it's become my calling in life.
Your mother
Eh,
frowns, but she kind of nods and understands. Well, whatever makes you happy. But it doesn't make me happy to not hear or see you. You need to make a more of a point to come home after these grand adventures and tell me all about it. But maybe leave out some of the gory stuff. She kind of gestures to Logos, who you assume has kind of filled her in on the details.
yes. Well, after having your cooking, I'm sure once we get done with what we're doing, I'm going to be forced to stop by again so they could get a second helping.
She smiles and absent-mindedly just kind of like clears a serving tray of food onto Renwick's plate as he seems to just be devouring everything she throws at him. So she throws an extra helping on his plate and makes her way around the party as well. As you guys are kind of having this conversation, another light rapping happens at the door. Dardros pops up and says, it's probably for me. And he makes his way over there and opens the door. And in walks this hunched over, cloaked individual, features hidden. And in they come, and Dardros closes the door behind them. And then the cloak is shed, and standing before you is this tall elven captain. Captain Laurelus, glittering in like this like half plate armor he's donning. He looks to Dardros and then to the party and then back again. And says, more of your son's friends then? And he kind of laughs. He says, yes, full house. I see. Well, forgive me, I didn't quite mean to intrude, but I was hoping to catch them, but first things first. Dardros, he reaches into his cloak and produces a leather satchel. It's a pretty hefty-looking one. And he hands it to Dardros, who takes it, confused, and takes this parcel over to the table and rolls it open. And you guys see this kind of the captain's face kind of beams. He's got a big grin as Dardros's face is just like just shocked as he opens this leather parcel, and within is just like fancy artisan tools of his craft, and they are elaborately made. This is like a master quality make of tools, and Dardros is just stunned silence, and the captain kind of chuckles. He says, well, I mean, you made it all the way to the finals with forgive me for being frank, but subpar tools. He kind of gestures to the tool bench that he takes a second glance at and realizes several of the tools are repaired, and he kind of shakes it off, attributing it probably to Dardos's skillful hand. He says, I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to feel like your 2 cents is not worth it, because it is. You're one of the best, and you should be treated as such. So these tools cost me a full year's salary at even the wages of a captain, and money well spent. I fully expect to see some glorious jobs popping off in and around here, Dardros. Do me proud with those. And Dardros is just like, he's so awestruck, like lost for words, and you see like a tear beat up in his eye as he inspects the high quality hammers and chisels and various tools of his trade, and he's just stunned as the captain kind of turns his attention back to the party. Says, I heard a bit about the sands of justice. from a very, we'll say, enamored Lord Svelison. I think he's got quite the heart for one of you. A bard by the name of Blade Silverstring he would not stop talking about. It was absolutely obnoxious, but apparently you are a bard of some skill. He kind of cocks an eyebrow, but nonetheless, I'm here about the bugbear's encounters. I was told perhaps that you had encountered them and that you fended a good portion of Ledlitten off, which the crown thanks you. He kind of bows a bit, but he says, "Is there anything in your encounter, anything at all that you might share with an inquiring mind? Is there anything seem off to you, standoffish perhaps? I know being attacked in the middle of a city is rare and odd in and of itself, but we're trying to piece together the clues here, and we're grasping at straws. I mean, any information you have could potentially be helpful. So, and there's a reward, 1,000 gold pieces. Please." He gestures to a large pouch on his belt. If you're seeking monetary motivation, we have a bit of that. So, pray tell, anything strange, adventurers? Anything I could talk you into sharing?
The only strange thing I noticed is they seem to come from out of nowhere and disappear into nowhere. Just
Logus is gonna do an insight check while they're talking. Really trying to discern why he's so damn curious, especially towards us.
Okay, give me an insight check. Logos, I'm going to say you can make an insight check with advantage.
natural 20. Yeah, he's cool.
Let's say 14 plus 8 for 22.
Logos, you kind of piece it together pretty quickly, but he's genuinely concerned. And after the information he gathered kind of from you, potentially taking a day to verify that what you're saying is true, he knows that you have been in and around these bugbears, and he is curious. He's trying to find like the connection, like why attack Ledlitten, why attack Silerin. He's just kind of grasping at straws, like he said. But it's also possible you infer that he did just the night prior have a meeting with this Tutu. You're not sure what the party said to Tutu as you were not there, but it is possible information was shared.
I mean, it seems like a safe bet that we could tell you that it appears the bugbears have some sort of magical tattoo that's allowing them to come in and out of these areas. We don't really know exactly how. Appears to be some sort of almost like a port key, a teleporting ability or something. But we haven't gotten far on that lead.
He cocks an eyebrow. He says, "So tell me more about these tattoos."
Well, when we came across those bugbears in Ledlitten, when we were searching the dead, we actually found that Gladier actually found that they have some sort of glowing tattoo behind their ears that either allows them to teleport in or out, or it is what's being used to control these things from a distance. Um, because it's really not within the bugbear's nature to just attack and run like that, especially on heavily fortified elven cities. Um, we were trying to figure out more about that.
Yeah, it's perplexing. He sketches out he takes a piece of parchment and sketches out a bit of this like tattoo, what he interprets it, and he shows it to you. He says, "Does it looks like this? Yes."
Logus will kind of like look over to Gladier since he also assumes this is your area, buddy. I mean,
He turns his attention to Gladier, and he's like cocks an eyebrow.
Gladier giving the silent treatment. He ain't no snitch. I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Strong silent type.
While this is happening, while we wait for Gladier to finally speak, Logus is gonna slide hand the bottle to the Lucas's dad.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand check.
That is a 4 plus 5 for a 9.
Inatari so notices, but she doesn't say anything. But he breaks his concentration on the tools, and he looks back to you as like, oh, all right. And he kind of gives you the eye, like, all right, I like this.
Yeah, I know the situation's a little tense right now, but I didn't want to forget. I really appreciated that you shared, and I figured it was only right that I got you another one.
He accepts it graciously. He's happy to see it, because as you guys had kind of put a good dent in his bottle, to get a refill is excellent. And as the captain kind of maybe turns away from Gladier at this point, he's so what can you tell me about these tattoos? It's like this, correct? And he points to this like a drawing of a tattoo that he has made.
All we know is that there's some runes that seem to be connected to these magical tattoos the bugbears have. Now we've killed some bugbears ourselves. We've seen the tattoos; they fade as the life force fades. So it's something magical linked to them. It appears that these runes are how they've been indicating where to attack. We haven't gathered terribly much outside of that.
He kind of ponders for a moment. He says, "Yes, well, these magic runes, they are what is known as a drow dwomer, or a word of power. It not only marks these bugbears as property of a specific house of drow, but it's also been known to have a few magic features. One being a protection from scrying, making it quite difficult to predict these attacks. The other is it looks to act as some port key for magical travel to or from somewhere, but we're not sure. We don't have all the pieces. It's difficult." And he's kind of as he kind of shows you guys these tattoos. He kind of leaves the parchment. He's like, so, anything in particular about the battle? Anything you guys can recall that might seem off? Any information at all?
I mean, clearly they were raiding specifically to bring elves out. We found tracks. It looked like bugbears had been grabbing sacks, and well, those sacks were large enough to be filled with people. So clearly, this was a coordinated strike. They came in with a purpose. They weren't just coming to cause chaos.
Oh, so it
can't
doesn't
remember.
seem to be just high elves. It seems to be elves in general because in our battle there was a chieftain who completely ignored everyone else and came straight at me with a magical javelin. It almost got me.
If the big lizard wasn't giving you the silent treatment, he could probably show you. He actually has the magical chain and the javelin that we took off that bugbear that was trying to kidnap a friend here.
Really, and I'd be interested to see that, as well as any other trinkets or relics that you may have recovered. Anything that could potentially give clues. Alas, well, as he's kind of going through a bit of this tattoos information, trying to pump you guys for anything he can. Go ahead and give me an insight check there, or rather, a perception check, group wide.
A 19 perception for Locris.
Gladiator has to roll with disadvantage for giving the silent treatment.
Uh, a 19
19.
as well for Logus, 7 plus 12.
With a 19, that's you guys are pretty observant. The tattoo that this guy has drawn out for you guys is very similar to the ones that you guys have collected on the bugbear ears, but it is ever so slightly just a bit different. And you would kind of recall the bugbear ear found in Ledlitten versus the bugbear ear you guys found in kind of like the slaughter in the woods. Similar tattoos, but ever so slightly different. And so now, with this third tattoo being portrayed, and this captain having a very steady hand, many years of calligraphy and art school paid off, and he, you guys see that now there look to be 3 separate tattoos. You've been informed that they're like drow dwomers, so like drow words of power, and each of them is just slightly different. My question is, do you share this information with this person or not?
Yeah. Yeah. By the looks of it, you're dealing with various drow. You say they're owned by a certain sigil, and they're all slightly different. So you're probably talking about at least 3 different masters. I think the High Elf Drow War is popping off again.
He kind of takes your words into consideration. Once you kind of show him the other like tattoos that you guys have acquired, he looks at them and reads it back to you. You know, he's like, this not only aside from its magical properties, this marks the bugbears as property of House Halatheros, but this other ear, it is marked as House Renaliliac, and neither of these are the houses that we've collected here. And he's like 3 separate drow houses. I don't know what this could mean, but you guys might have just kind of tipped the scale here. I should probably go. I need to report a few things, see what we can do here, but alas, thank you for being forthcoming. There's not many around here that will give a high elf the time of day, like for good reason, really. But alas, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, we are Knights of the Sands of Justice. It's what we do.
And of Borsland. Renwick kind of gestures to his 2 badges.
And thank you for taking care of the community.
I just do what's right, you know. It's It's not an easy task always standing up to your own, but some views are just damn ignorant. You can't have that. He turns to Dardros and says, you get to work on those fixing the everything. I want to see a grand chapel here one day. And he kind of smiles and gives the tiefling a good punch to the arm. And Dardros just kind of puts everything down for a moment and steps forward and says, I just want to say thank you. You helped quite a bit. You've been an inspiration to me and others, and you're one of the good ones. You give us hope, making sure not all your kin are trying to run us into the ground. We appreciate that, and I'll never be able to return this gift. I'll never be able to do for me what you've done. Do for you what you've done for me, but alas, know that I appreciate you. And he kind of clasps this elf on the shoulder, and they exchange a brief glance, and once again this cloak comes out, and this elf takes the form of this very old lady who slowly makes her way out of the domicile. And as the door closes behind her, Dardros kind of sighs and goes to his newfound tools. Says, forget everything I said about those old tools. These are fucking great.
Yes, they look great. And with the money I left on the counter, you should be able to get something going really well.
Oh, no. I can't take that. That's too much. You can't. I mean, that's your money. Yeah, I'm not the one shedding blood, sweat, and tears for it.
Then Chris will go up and just whisper in his ear, I have over 1,500 in platinum. I'm not really going to miss that.
His eyes kind of go wide. He's like, oh, damn. King's fortune in your pocket, huh? You be mindful. Be careful. Don't make enemies. Keep a hold of what's yours.
Always. Now, the big guy, he seems to have a little more trouble with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pickpocket Gladier. And since he's asleep, it's automatic success, right?
I mean, I can't really argue with that. As Gladier snores loudly from probably consuming too much whiskey and wine the night before. He's kind of made his way to the breakfast table, began eating, and then just kind of fell asleep, face down on the table in in Locris's family home.
Can I put Archie on his head now just so I can give him crabs?
Absolutely.
Well, can I stack stuff on his head and then we'll place Archie on top? That way, next session we just start with he has a bunch of shit in his head.
Yeah, I would like to play that game. Do you want Dex checks to see how much shit we can stack on top of him?
Yeah, go ahead and give me like a group sleight of hand.
Oh, what is my sleight of hand? That's probably pretty good for a rogue. All right, +5, not bad.
21 for Blade.
18 for Logos.
I got a 12.
Dirty 20.
You guys manage to stack all kinds of things on your friend. Like what starts with like a handful of pebbles, splayed across his shoulders, and a couple things on the back of his head. And then one of you gets ballsy enough to balance a plate. and then on top of that, a few other knickknacks, a fork, a spoon, a few bric-a-brac and knickknacks you guys kind of balance on. And at some point, Inatari and Dardros kind of get in on it. And Dardros, you find Dardros trying to balance a shot glass on top of a couple of forks that are carefully placed. And Inatari, she goes about tossing like a bit of olives into the cups and spoons and things that you guys are kind of placing all over him. It's kind of like a whole affair. Like the Dragonborn sleeps through the whole thing just hard, and you guys decorate his exterior with various bric-a-brac and things. I think that is probably a good spot to call the session.
That's a nice ending right there. I like that. We honestly should have taken this opportunity to decorate him like a Christmas tree, but it's probably not Christmas in Daanal Wisech.
Yeah. Fucking fellas, that's crazy. Oh shit. So now Will and Alec have both just passed out.
Yeah, I feel like it's becoming a rite of passage. It's gonna happen to all of us at least once, which is gonna be, you guys are gonna be the holdouts because you have the unique advantage of not being an hour or two ahead of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, well, what time is it for him? Because it's only 11:20 here.
He's on Eastern Standard. It's 12:30 right now.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
Just
absurd.
about anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
almost
funny.
like the old high school parties. First one to pass out got their face drawn on and shit.
I have drawn on so many people.
That shit's funny, dude. So, Clay, what do you think? Just fucking silence. Oh shit!
We'll have to give him a minus on charisma checks because one of you guys drew like a big ass dick on his forehead while he's asleep or something.
I mean, if we hadn't just got a long rest, I would argue that he's exhausted because we sure as shit are not letting him sleep.
Well, look at that. We had a whole session where nobody's parents died. Crazy.
Yet. The arc is young.
Very fresh.
Although you really set them up, so if we lose either of them, there's going to be a riot. At least with my mom, you guys never got to meet her, so we didn't have that bond. But right now, like, she's a second mom to me, and she's a mommy fantasy for Logus. We're getting
Definitely
attached.
definitely a love interest for Logus. Big mommy energy going on over there.
He's just hoping that Darnos likes to watch.
Yeah, any chance your dad's a cuck, Locris?
He's a very much pacifist, so maybe.
I mean, he wrote one hell of a backstory. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, this is
Luckily, that's not
complicated for Blade.
Oh, yeah? That's fine. Oh, shit. Well, fellas, I think I'm going to take off for the evening. Keep in touch. Let's do this crazy thing again soon.
Yeah, I believe we're on for the one shot next week that the Sleeping Dragonborn is running. And then we're back on after that.
Sounds good to me.
I almost don't want to do the one shot now, just to fucking for him to come back to all that bullshit.
You better prep.
Honestly,
prep
that'll
him.
be even better because it'll be 2 weeks before he knows what happens, unless he checks the notes.
Oh, that's gonna be good. I have a couple of weeks to think about some good, vivid descriptors of him being startled awake and like shattering like a bowl in a china shop, just breaking a bunch of shit.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get on the AI generator and see if it'll give me a sleeping dragonborn with a bunch of shit stacked on top of it.
Like the Mad Hatter, like in Alice in Wonderland Tea Party, but like on his back or something, you know. All right, fellas, I'm gonna take off. You guys have a good one and keep in touch. I'll see you guys soon.
All right,
take
fellas.
it easy, guys.
Yeah.
Sounds good, y'all.